Meteorologist Chris Smith here in the Severe Storm Tracking Center with another weather update. So as of right now, we've been watching this line of showers and storms move across the country throughout the last several hours. We've even been talking about this throughout the last couple of days. We're beginning to get a couple of storms just northwest of Athens, but that's not where in lay comes the problem. What comes in with the problem is the line of storms that you're seeing here. So just to catch everybody up with everything, so what we've been watching again is this line of showers and storms moving across the country. It's produced several tornadoes well to the north of the Tennessee Valley, plenty of wind damage to the west. So we're kind of sandwiched in between everything. So as we go over the next couple of hours, we're going to watch this live for you very, very closely and tracking out the most potent line of that line of storms going into the Tennessee Valley. 9:48 for Florence, Decatur 11:08, and Huntsville at 11:28 p.m. for tonight. The entire Tennessee Valley under a severe thunderstorm watch, and what that means is conditions will be very ripe for the possibility of severe thunderstorms, but that doesn't mean we can't see tornado warnings because we're still looking at an atmosphere that could still produce some of them, especially towards the shoals. So timing this out for you, 10 p.m. tonight. That line inside of the Tennessee Valley, Florence, Tuscumbia, and Muscle Shoals. As you get a little bit closer towards midnight, this is where the line starts to push east of Huntsville. Decatur included, Hartsville included as well. So by the time you get to 1 a.m. and 2 a.m., that's when the least severe weather potential finally ends into the Tennessee Valley, and we could see a couple of lingering showers as late as 4 or 5 a.m. So until 10 p.m. tonight, we're still looking at the storm timing for the shoals. 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. So only a 1 hour window here, folks. Athens, Decatur, Huntsville, and Fayetteville. And then finally for Sand Mountain, Scottsboro, Gunnersville, Arab, and Boaz between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. So a couple of things that you got to keep in mind, especially with those impacts. As that line continues to move through, we could still see those winds gusting up to 60 miles per hour, especially for the shoals. Large hail is a possibility, and not the kind that we had with the last severe weather event. We're not looking at hailstones that are 4 or 5 inches in diameter, not looking at that. But we are looking at the possibility of quarter-inch size hailstones or less, which does meet the requirement for a severe thunderstorm warning. Then you're looking at the possibility of a brief tornado. So again, we're going to be watching the system all night long for you. And of course, you always want to download the Severe Storm Tracker weather app. You can always watch us live if you can't get near a TV. And be sure to like our social media pages as well, due to more updates. One, two, three, four, five. I'm meteorologist Chris Smith here in the Severe Storm Tracking Center with another quick update for you. Again, inside of the Tennessee Valley, we're already starting to see a couple of thunderstorms really begin to fire up, but all eyes again are a little bit to the west as a couple of thunderstorms are just outside of the area, especially a lot of wind damage being reported within a lot of these storms. So again, keep that in mind as I continue to track this out. So you can see the curving nature of those storms. That's because there's a lot of wind being pushed along this line. So as I continue to track that out for you, you're looking at Iuka, 908 for this evening. Florence, 947. Town Creek, 1007, and even 5 points coming in here at 1020. So we're still in the long haul for this system coming through here. Next couple of hours, we're still going to watch that line of storms move into the Tennessee Valley and then move in and out of here pretty fast. Zooming out a little bit more, there's the line as it continues to push through. And this is a threat that we are going to be here with you throughout the next couple of hours. Tornado watch still in, or excuse me, not tornado watch, severe thunderstorm watch in effect until Wednesday at 1 a.m. So with the storm timing until 10 p.m., that's for the shoals. You get to 10 p.m., 11 p.m., Athens, Decatur, Moulton, Huntsville, Fayetteville, and then 11 p.m. to 1 a.m., that's where you're talking about Scottsboro, Gunnersville, Arab, Boaz, Fort Payne, Rainsville, even Mentone in here. So taking you through hour by 10 p.m., here comes that line pushing past the shoals. Excuse me, at the Huntsville, Decatur, Gurley, Owens Crossroads. That's where you're going to midnight tonight, and then quickly thereafter to 1 a.m. to even 2 a.m. That's when the severe weather threat should finally die down. A couple of rain showers back behind the main line of storm. So when you look at impacts, you're still looking at winds gusting to 60 miles per hour. Large hail, so quarter-size hail or a little bit less. And as of right now, still holding in the brief tornado threat. Again, it's a low impact, but still an impact nonetheless, mainly for the shoals throughout the next 1 to 2 hours.
Hello, 1 2 1 2, check, check, check.
1 2 1 2, check, check.
Meteorologist Chris Smith here in the Severe Storm Tracking Center, tracking for you a severe thunderstorm warning that has just been issued for part of the shoals. Western Lauderdale, Colbert, and Franklin counties now are under a severe thunderstorm warning that shall go all the way until 9:30 p.m. So there's the line. Now this has really been a very, very potent line of storms. There has already been numerous reports of wind damage in north central, northeastern Mississippi, and that's why the National Weather Service has now extended the severe thunderstorm warning. That's what you're seeing right in here for Western Lauderdale, Colbert, and Franklin counties until 9:30. So what I want to do for you now is to continue to track out a lot of this activity. So keep in mind, we're looking at straight line wind damage here, folks. We're really not looking at a hail threat. The hail chances are still pretty small, but what we're looking at is the possibility of seeing some damaging winds. So again, a lot of this activity continues to push into Tishomingo, just to the east of Corinth. So as we continue to track that into Florence and Russellville, I extended it just past the warning just to give a couple more folks outside of that warned area kind of an idea of when you could still expect that line, whether it be severe or not. So Red Bay, 9:18 Cherokee arriving at 9:32, Russellville 9:48. And then once you get to Florence, that's coming in here at 9:57. And this is timing out absolutely perfect with our forecast, not just throughout today, but the last couple of days. We told you that this line would arrive between 8 and 9 p.m. And there you go, just coming in a couple of minutes shy of 9 p.m. So as this line continues to head further to the east, we're still looking at a lot of this activity producing the opportunity for winds up to 60 miles per hour. And even in a lot of these cases, we're still looking at parts of Lauderdale County really dealing with not only just some heavy rain in general, but also the possibility of seeing some of those gusty winds. So we're going to zoom in here a little bit more, just show you how that line is about to cross over the Alabama and Mississippi state line. So you see Iuka there, that line's just outside of there. Even going a little bit further to the east along 72, or actually alternate route 72, I should say, taking you just south of Florence, really passing Tuscumbia. This is the line of storms that I'm talking about right in here. I don't have it titled on right now, but trust me, there is a ton of lightning associated, dangerous lightning, with a lot of these storms. Some of them are cloud to cloud, and then there's some of them that are actually making it cloud to ground. So that's where you get to those really dangerous lightning strikes all throughout there. But again, what I want to do for you again is track out this line of storms, getting a little bit closer, picking up a few more of these communities in here. So just to the west of Tishomingo, dealing with that track of showers and storms over the next 20 to 30 minutes. So once you go past Tishomingo, we're still looking at the possibility of seeing a lot of that activity move through. So once we get to say 9:15, 9:20, the line of storms you're seeing in here should be crossing a good chunk of really going into northwestern Alabama at that point. So I'm going to track that one storm going just to the west of Tishomingo here. The tracker wants to work correctly. So again, what we're looking at here, next couple of minutes, line of showers and storms pushing in here, and let's give this one another shot. There we go. So as you continue to look at that particular storm in general, Minot 9:18, Cherokee at 9:24, Lime Rock at 9:42. So you have a big line of showers and storms coming into play. And the next thing I want to do for you is show you that wind, that penetrating wind coming into the Tennessee Valley. So what you get in a lot of times where you get some of that bowing action to coming into play. So there's the velocity. What I'm looking at here is the winds just barreling down behind that line of storm. So moving it a little bit further to the east, there's the line of storms. What I'm focused on is what's behind the line. So those bright greens that you're seeing in there, those are winds already gusting above 60 miles per hour. Now, can all that activity make it to the surface? We've already had a lot of reports that suggest yes. We've already had a lot of wind damage being reported throughout north central Mississippi, northeastern Mississippi, and that's why the line that you're seeing in here continues to move into not just Tishomingo, but throughout the western parts of Lauderdale, Colbert, and Franklin County, because the extent of that warning is the line that you're seeing right in here. So that's the extent of the warning, and again, that's going to go until 9:30. So winds, could see them gust up to 60 miles per hour, could see some small hail. As of right now, I have not really detected any type of rotation within this line of storms, and that's been one of the other threats that we've been talking about here, is as the line of showers and storms continues to move into the Tennessee Valley, what we really could be left with is the possibility of seeing these quick spin ups. So as of right now, that's not really the case inside of the line of these showers and storms. So again, what I want to do for you again is track out this line as a whole, move this out a little bit, going just past the extension of the end of that tornado or that severe thunderstorm warning. Iuka 906, Cherokee 922, Rhodesville coming in here at 932. Florence could see it a little bit before 10 p.m. As of right now, we're tracking it to you at 9:47. And this is all the activity we've been talking about here in the Severe Storm Tracking Center for quite a while. Meteorologist Kate McKinney, she kept you updated throughout this morning. Even Chief Meteorologist Stephen Bowers, he was talking about this at the end of last week. So we've really been watching this system for you, and it's finally arrived. And just to give you an idea of what we're looking at here with the warnings, again, Tuesday until 9:30 p.m., that's the extent of that particular warning. So this is a lapse over the last hour. This line is moving fast, anywhere between 50, 55 miles per hour. And with those winds really hauling behind it, that's really helping to amplify the extent of those storms. So that's why it's pushing out a little bit further ahead than everybody else. This is the entire line, just to catch people up here with what we've been showing you throughout the last couple of hours, doing a couple of cut-ins with all this. But this is the line finally pushing into the Tennessee Valley, and what we're going to be left with is a severe thunderstorm watch, which is in effect until 1 a.m. Now, this goes for everybody here in the Tennessee Valley. So we're not looking at a tornado watch, but we are looking at a severe thunderstorm watch, which means conditions are certainly ripe enough to get severe thunderstorms here in the Tennessee Valley. But yes, we still could see a tornado warning if conditions continue to line up just right. So when you look at storm timing throughout the rest of tonight, until 10 p.m., Florence, Tuscumbia, Muscle Shoals, Russellville, that's what we have over the next hour. Once we get to 10 to 11 p.m., we're looking at Athens, Decatur, Huntsville, Fayetteville as well. So that line's going to continue to move through. Then finally, as we go into Sand Mountain, 11 p.m. to 1 a.m., we're looking at Scottsboro, Gunnersville, and also Fort Payne. So this is a lot of the activity that we've been seeing here throughout the last, 15 to 20 minutes, kind of the explosive nature of these storms. And when you get a lot of these storms to really pile up, have a lot of that wind energy behind it, that's where you're looking at those quick wind gusts where, again, you can see a lot of that activity, maybe seeing 40 mile per hour wind speeds, 50 mile per hour wind speeds. But when you look at this particular line in general, we're still looking at everything kind of moving through. We're going to see a lot of these showers and storms continue to form. Again, this is what you've seen here over the last hour or so. But when you look at this line of storms moving through, again, we're looking at a lot of this activity. This is coming off of the Columbus radar site, so that's why you're seeing kind of the difference as opposed to going over high top. Again, it's a little bit too far out for that radar site, so that's why we have numerous radar sites to ping in here a lot of this data. So again, there's the line of showers and storms pushing into the shoals. And one thing that I've really noticed over the last, I'd say 20 minutes, we're going to zoom in just south of Tishomingo. The line that's associated with all these damaging winds is pushing to the south and to the east. But what we're seeing here in the Tennessee Valley, the line passing through Tishomingo, you're still getting those occasional wind gusts, at least potentially, up to 60 miles per hour. So that's why the warning was extended into the Tennessee Valley. So that's why when I'm showing you that line a little bit further to the south, that line of wind still continues to move further south. That's why another warning that's here is pointed to the south and east, as opposed to the one pointing over the Tennessee Valley, where it's essentially going really west to east at this point. So again, we're going to zoom up a little bit more, and we're going to track out that line of storms, get some new data in here. Remember, every couple of minutes, radars update, so it's always good to show you updated arrival time. So there's the line, and again, I'm going past the warning on purpose, just to give people a little bit further downstream from these storms an understanding of when to expect that line, if it can hold together, into your hometown. So Cherokee 922, Florence 946, and Killen at 957. So again, very imperative to understand that within this line, we could eventually see that brief spin up tornado. As of right now, the circulation's embedded within that line. Really haven't been seen too much. We saw one rotation back in north central Mississippi about 45 minutes ago. So within the line, it's still probable. That's why I at least want to keep you updated on all modes of severe weather. That's certainly possible. So again, as that line continues to move just across the Alabama and Mississippi state line, eventually it's going to go right along alternate route 72 until you get towards Muscle Shoals and Tuscumbia, then banking a little bit further north to Florence. So again, whether you're Red Bay, Phil Campbell, Russellville, you're looking at those times within the next couple of minutes for Red Bay. You have another 20 minutes to 30 minutes for Russellville, because by the time you get to the end of that warning, it's probably going to be a little bit closer to 9:30, so a little bit past that for Russellville. So again, we've seen a lot of damage with that particular line in north central Mississippi and also northeastern Mississippi. And I'm just kind of jumping over here real quick to check out the National Weather Service to see if we've had any other reports so far. And one report is actually of pea-sized hail in Riverton and in northwest Colbert County. So that was the hail threat I was talking about. Again, this isn't like a couple weeks ago where we had hail the size of grapefruit coming down. Tonight we could see severe kind of a hail, which is a 1/4 inch hail size or less. That's what we're looking at within these storms. But again, to get a severe thunderstorm warning, you need at least a 1/4 inch hail size or greater. But that's the line as of right now. So again, within that line, you got winds potentially gusting up to 60 miles per hour, 1/4 size hail or less. Again, we already had that one report in Riverton and northwestern Colbert County. And as far as wind, we're really waiting to see how that takes shape going into the Tennessee Valley. As of right now, until that line crosses into the Tennessee Valley, we're waiting to get a couple of reports, a couple of my weather watchers a little bit further to the west of there. But again, what you're looking at all throughout here between Tishomingo to Iuka, that's the outer edge of that line. So taking it all the way past Florence again, that's where you're looking at Cherokee at 924, Muscle Shoals 947, and then Florence coming in here at 950. So again, I appreciate everyone tuning in here to get really just kind of an in-depth recap of the severe thunderstorm warning that we're dealing with right now. Not only that, also the possibility of seeing more severe weather here in the Tennessee Valley throughout the next couple of hours. I'll get rid of those options for you and then kind of take a look at some other locations here in the valley. So this is the last hour. You had a lot of this activity push through, but even when you expand things out a little bit, what I want you to understand is when that line pushes through and it tilts and bows out, that's the signature of those very strong winds starting to descend and make it to the surface. So it's trying to push out a lot of that storm activity. So that's why it's racing ahead as opposed to other locations where it's still kind of lagging behind, especially areas just to the southwest of Tupelo. But we've already seen plenty of severe weather all around the Tennessee Valley. We've already had a couple of tornado reports. Well, north of the area, you'd have to go to Kentucky. Also, Indiana, get a couple of reports of that. Even just outside of St. Louis, they had one report of a tornado in there. So again, you have this activity, plenty of showers and storms, even a couple of storms finally beginning to fire up around Fayetteville. So we'll go in and take a look at that. And a couple of those storms finally firing up around Fayetteville. So a lot of heavy rain locally. A lot of lightning strikes as well. Again, I turned off the lightning tracker for a good reason, because the entire screen would in fact be lit up with all of that lightning. So again, that's just something to really kind of understand with all the different types of threats that we've seen here so far. So got the potential for some damaging wind, some small hail, and of course you throw in the threat for lightning in there. That's problematic as well. So probably not the best idea to be outside at this moment, but over the next course of the next few hours, Hopefully no one's going to be outside. If you got to work tonight, this is something that you kind of want to pay attention to. So throughout the course of the next couple of hours, this line of showers and storms will continue to move in here. And one thing I do want to do for you is show you all that lightning. And there it is. It's about to be toggled on right now. So with the lightning that you're about to see, again, this is why I toggled the lightning off, because it really just kind of soaks up all of the storms that you're seeing right in there. And just to give you an idea of all the amount of lightning strikes that you're seeing, we can actually go through and count them. So again, a lot of this activity continues to hold true. A lot of that activity will continue to move east throughout the next really several hours in here. So again, that line of storms, a lot of lightning, some very, very fast winds associated with that storm coming through here. So you want to keep that in mind if you're anywhere downstream. If you're in Athens, Decatur, Hartselle, Huntsville, this line's going to come through. And whether if it keeps intact or not, you're at minimum going to have gusty to maybe low end severe criteria winds gusting 40, 45 miles per hour. If you're outside today at all, you know exactly what I'm talking about with just how windy it was outside. So that's something to keep in mind as well. There's just a whole lot of wind energy coming through right now, folks. So again, this is why we're on air. We treat every part of the Tennessee Valley as equals. That's why we're on air right now, helping to get you to understand, you know, this is what we're looking at. We're looking at the threat for potentially damaging winds. Again, this is all going to go until 9:30 tonight. That's the warning you're seeing right in here. There's another warning that's associated with a couple of counties outside of the valley that's going to go until 10:30. So again, what we have right now, you still have all this activity moving through. And again, we're going to go a little bit further to the west, and we're going to track out a lot of this activity for you. So again, a lot of lightning, a lot of heavy rain right now, and I'm going to continue to track these storms in just a little bit. Dana, Dimitri, you got something?
Yeah, Chris, before we came downstairs, we did get several calls into our newsroom, people in the Florence area saying they're already starting to see lightning in their area, wondering when the storm is going to move in, specifically the timing of it.
Yeah, and that's an excellent question, and that's why I was toggling on and off all the lightning, because you're going to see it well away from even Florence to Scumbia, because you're only several miles away from the onset of even just the minimum heavy rain. So what I want to do next, we're going to zoom in a little bit more. We're going to track out this one real good for you. So if you're in the Florence, Muscle Shoals to Scumbia area, this is what we're looking at. So the line heading just past Tishomingo, Iuka, we're going to track that a little bit further to the east. So when you look at these times, this is when the line of the heaviest wind or the gustiest winds will move through. So Cherokee, 921, Waterloo, you're seeing it right now. Florence at 9:43 and Killen at 9:52. So that's when you can expect kind of the strongest winds to come through. And as of right now, looking with the National Weather Service, I haven't seen any other reports besides the report of the pea-sized hail in Riverton in northwestern Colbert County. Other than that, we haven't seen any reports of damage, rightfully so, inside of the Tennessee Valley, only because that line is finally starting to come in here. So that's when you look at Cherokee, Waterloo. Again, this is over the next 20 to 25 minutes. This warning is going to last until 9:30. So we have a little over 15 minutes left on that warning. So one of the big things that I've been tracking for you is the potential for wind. So what I want to show you is actually looking at that wind to give you an idea of what I'm also taking a look at. So this is what's known as velocity. So it's winds going in and out, away, or toward a radar site. So the radar site we're looking at is further to the south. So when you look at these winds, those big areas, those bright greens that you're looking at, that is the gusty wind. So this is where the wind is finally starting to move through. It's starting to move through Tishomingo right now. It's still west of Iuka, so still along alternate route 72 in Mississippi. You go ahead of it, the winds are still a little breezy ahead of that line, but it's really behind it to where you're going to see some of those gustier winds, especially you get some of those brighter greens, those blues when they show up. Those are very, very strong winds that we're tracking for you. So again, that's the line of showers and storms. And not only that, another area that I want to go to real quick is into Franklin County. So again, what you look at here with Franklin County, Red Bay, this is what's shaping up for you, eventually going to Russellville and eventually for Phil Campbell. You get that track right along the edge, doing the best I can with trying to keep it on the edge of that line of storms. So when you look at, let's let's see, Eastman at 9:17, Rockwood 9:35, Russellville at 9:38, and then Hackleburg coming in here at 9:49. So that's taking that track through Franklin County. Remember, the strongest winds are actually winds that are a little bit further south. So we're seeing kind of the tail edge of all of those strong winds that have already been reported in north central Mississippi, where they've already had numerous reports of a couple of limbs down, some trees down as well. So this is just a continuation of the line of the all those reports of damaging winds. So again, one thing that you also want to remember is as this line continues to move through, we're watching it as it continually progresses a little bit closer into, say, Lawrence County, Limestone County. So as that line continues to move a little bit further to the east, we're really going to continue to track and watch how the winds are shaping up with all these storms. If they can continue to really hold their momentum with winds potentially gusting up to 60 miles per hour, this again tonight at a minimum, you're going to hear the wind tonight. Doesn't matter where you live here in the Tennessee Valley, whether if it's right now or 2 o'clock in the morning for Sand Mountain, you're going to hear the wind. It's just how much wind do you get when everything is all said and done. As of right now, we've already had a bunch of reports of damage in Mississippi. We're waiting to see if that's translating into northwestern Alabama here. So that's something to keep in mind. So that warning continues to take shape. This is a loop over the last couple of hours. But remember, this is all part of a massive storm system moving across the country. I mean, this is going into Canada, as far south as the Gulf, and what you're seeing here is that line, very bullish line, moving across the Tennessee Valley between now going into early Wednesday morning. Dan and Demetria?
All right, thanks very much, Chris. Appreciate that update. We're going to get back to him in just a moment. But first of all, we have live reporters stretched out all across the Tennessee Valley, including Brecken Terry.
Yes, she is in Lauderdale County right now. And Brecken, what do you see in your area?
Well, I'm actually on the eastern end of Lauderdale County. I'm right between Florence and Killen. If you look behind me here, that is Shoals Creek Bridge and Highway 72. Traffic is moving normal, and I've just seen just a little bit of lightning here and there. It's not raining where I'm at right now. It's a little warm. The wind has not picked up where I'm at either at this time. But again, that's because I'm on the eastern end of this. Well, actually, I can feel it picking up right now. But that's because I'm on the eastern end of Lauderdale County, right between Florence and Killen. So that thunderstorm has probably not reached my area just yet. Back to you guys.
Brecken, can you still hear us? I had a question for you. I know you reported earlier this evening.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah,
all right, you reported earlier this evening that the Shoals area had received almost a 1.5 feet of rain in the last several months since the beginning of the year, and that could be an issue when these strong winds come in and some of these trees may not be rooted so deeply in the ground right now.
Yeah, it definitely could. You know, I've worked with my EMA directors out here for probably close to about 4 or 5 years, and every time we see tons of rain like that come through this area, the ground just gets incredibly saturated. And when these trees start to bloom, obviously they get a little bit top heavy and things like that, and just the slightest wind can come through and blow down huge trees. I remember one day just a couple of years ago, it wasn't even supposed to be a bad thunderstorm, and the next thing we know, there were trees all down along Wood Avenue in Florence. We're hoping that that will not happen tonight. You know, I interviewed a man earlier who actually had a lot of his trees cut down ahead of these storms because he was worried about them falling on his house tonight.
Certainly a legitimate concern when you think about what's happened in the past and what could happen tonight.
Exactly. All right, please stay safe out there, Brecken.
Let's get back to meteorologist Chris Smith now for another update on the severe weather that's moving through the Shoals right now.
All right, thank you, Dan and Demetria and Brecken as well. So again, just to give everybody a recap, what we're tracking for you is a severe thunderstorm warning for western Lauderdale, Colbert, and Franklin counties. That will last for the next 12 minutes. And I just checked in with the National Weather Service. So far, they are going to let that continue all the way until 9:30. So again, 12 minutes away from that. Current time is 9:18. So when you look at a lot of these showers and storms moving through the Tennessee Valley, what we're going to be left with is that line. Again, at minimum, you're going to hear the wind. It's just how much wind will you get over the course of the next couple of hours as this line continues to move through the Tennessee Valley. Not only that, you're going to get heavy rain. You can see all those reds and oranges in there. That is going to be very, very heavy rain. So you're going to have that very heavy rain pushed with some very gusty winds, and that's why when we were talking to Brecken about the possibility of some trees or limbs being toppled over, it's certainly a good likelihood, being that Muscle Shoals over the last 2 months, they received just under 18 inches of rainfall. So like she was also talking about as well, trees at this time of the year, they get top heavy, easy for those winds to push them over, unlike the fall where it still holds a lot of those leaves. You get some of those big winds to come through and still tops over a lot of that activity. So again, as that line continues to move through, what we're looking at right now is the possibility of seeing some of those winds really begin to shape up. So we're going to zoom in here first, then we're going to track out that line of storm. So you see that bowing action right in here. So it's still a good signature of seeing those winds fairly gusty at this point. So again, tracking out that line. Again, the orange line that you're seeing in there, that's the edge of the severe thunderstorm warning. But what I like to do is to go beyond that, to give folks just outside of the warning, if they do continue it, kind of that added heads up. And what you're also going to see, if we do get more warnings, you're going to see them pop up on your screen right over here. So that's an instantaneous alert that we only have here at WAAY 31 in our Severe Storm Tracking Center. No other area has an instantaneous update like we do, again, here in the area. But to time out that line, 9:38 in Florence, Muscle Shoals 9:41, Killen at 9:49. So Brecken said that she was kind of wedged between, was it Florence and Killen where she was at, guys? Right. Yeah. So what she's going to be looking at just in this area. So that's kind of where she's wedged in that. So that line, Brecken, if you're still hearing me right now, you have about another 15 to 20 minutes before that line really ramps up. Even though it was rain-free for her at that moment, it's going to go from nothing to heavy rain and gusty winds in the matter of 10 to 15 seconds at best. So that's why I want to keep tracking out a lot of this activity, a lot of those showers, a lot of those storms moving across the shoals, even past what we're looking at here, past that warning, which again goes until 9:30 p.m. this evening. Dan and Demetria?
Yeah, Chris, we just got some new information from the National Weather Service. They said that they're reporting pea-size hail that's in Riverton and northwest Colbert County. We're going to continue to monitor this as we get this new information and make sure that we bring that to you on air.
And I think Chris mentioned this a few minutes ago. There have been widespread reports of wind damage back to our west across the border in Mississippi as this squall line moved through. The parent storm is a little further to the north, and that storm has been producing tornadic activity in parts of Kentucky into Ohio. All across the Ohio Valley, in fact, southern Illinois and Indiana as well. So this is a system to be reckoned with, and we are just seeing the tail end of it moving through our area right now.
Oh, absolutely. And that's why when we talked about risk levels for today, the areas in the Tennessee Valley that would have the greatest risk for severe weather would be between Huntsville going to Hartselle and Fayetteville, points to the west, because as that line continues to move through, we still got instability left, folks. We had a lot of sunshine today. Temperatures easily made it into the low 80s. We had a lot of wind energy as well. So you couple all that together, and that's why you're still looking at the threat for these damaging storms coming through at this moment. But like Dan said, you had a lot of potent storms well to the north, and rightfully so. A lot of tornado warnings that were occurring at that moment. We're not seeing any tornado warnings right now close to the Tennessee Valley. What we still have to look forward to, if you will, is everything ending once we get to 2 a.m. for tonight. So again, there's a line of showers and storms moving across the shoals at this moment, even though it appears that the line of storms has slowed down a little bit. So that's why I'm trying to take that into consideration when I time out a lot of that activity. So again, there's the line for you. We're going to zoom in a little bit more just to give you a more accurate depiction of when you can expect a lot of these times across the area. So again, as you go between Lauderdale and Colbert counties, we're going to track out another round of fresh radar data that's just come in. Going out a little bit more, you know what, I'm going to take this a little bit further to just outside of Town Creek and Rogersville. So again, here's the line of showers and storms. There's the times on the side of your screen. 9:38 for Florence, 9:48 for Killen. So again, Brecken, if you're still hearing me, she was wedged in between the two. You're about to get really hit very well with those showers and storms in about the next 15 minutes. Lexington at 9:59, so right along the Alabama and Tennessee state line as that line continues to move through. And everything's being generated by all this wind energy. This is a very powerful system. It's got a lot of wind energy. So as that line continues to move through, what we're looking at is a lot of that heavy rain. So what I want to do now is go in a little bit closer here. We're going to go really right along the Colbert and Lauderdale County line, if you will. So again, as you get a little bit closer in here, you're looking at Cherokee, getting a lot of heavy rain right now along Highway 2 as it goes to alternate Route 72. So you get Waterloo. They're dealing with a lot of wind, a lot of rain right now. So again, if you're at home, don't go outside. This is not the time to go outside, try to take pretty pictures of lightning strikes. That's not the time to do it. You need to wait, stay inside. Even though we're not looking at anything tornadic, you get winds going 60 miles per hour. It doesn't take a lot to move an object when you have winds going 60 miles per hour. So that's why just stay inside. Let us know what's happening from inside. You can message us on any one of our Facebook pages. And there you go. Looks like they've actually extended that severe thunderstorm warning, and we're going to take a look at that activity. So again, when you look at that system coming through, you have that shower, that storm activity, and it looks like they've extended that warning box not too much further to the east. I really think the National Weather Service is doing a decent job in here. They've only extended that warning about the next couple of minutes. So I think they've only gone a little bit further than that. But that's just going to show you this is a slow progression of the potential for these damaging winds. So again, that line continues to move through. And what we're left with is the possibility of still looking at winds gusting up to 60 miles per hour along with quarter-size hail. So we're going to go back in a little bit more. Actually, that warning has actually been extended a little bit more than that. So you're looking at 2 boxes within here. So this is the ending of the first warning. This is the extension of that warning. That warning actually goes to just outside of Limestone County, cutting through Lawrence County. So again, I apologize for that. So again, the new warning actually extends into Lawrence County and also just into that little nugget right there into Limestone County. That's as far as that new line will go. So I'm going to track out that line for you, give you an idea of what you can expect with a lot of these showers and storms. So I know I'm extended out pretty far here, but we're going to go to Athens with this line. So Hatton at 10:04, Moulton 10:14. So Hatton, you have roughly about 35 minutes left to 40 minutes before that line reaches you. Athens, you got a while. You got about a little under an hour coming in here at 10:30. So that's the new line. Still looking at a lot of this activity pushing through the Tennessee Valley next couple of hours. And we will be on the air. As long as we get warnings, we're going to be on the air, keeping you safe, keeping you covered with any type of weather. That's why we're here. We want to keep you safe and well informed. The next round of showers and storms coming through here, we're going to go a little bit further south this time. So again, when you look at Highway 43, a lot of this activity is just to the west. So if you live anywhere around Highway 43, whether if it's Lauderdale County, Colbert County, Franklin County, if you're anywhere along here, you probably have about another 15 minutes left before that line reaches your destination, your hometown. So when I track out this line, keep in mind the line of storms, they've been getting a little bit slower. So they're not moving at 50 miles per hour anymore. If anything, they're probably moving a little bit closer to 40 miles per hour, especially just kind of judging throughout the last couple of scans in here. So when you look at that activity, you have Sheffield coming in here 9:37, Russellville at 9:40, finally coming in here Layton at 9:52. Now I want to toss it over to our reporter Cody. He's live in Decatur. Cody, what are you seeing right now? Can you hear me? We got Cody?
Yeah, Chris, what I'm seeing right now is here. I'm right here in Decatur at the corner of, I believe this is 565 coming into Decatur. And just a couple of minutes ago, we had just a slight bit of rain, but right now that rain has stopped. But as you mentioned, this storm is currently making its way through the shoals to Decatur. So just a couple of minutes ago, I did get off the phone with the Lawrence County emergency management officials, and they tell me that right now they don't have any damage, but they told me to call back after the storm blows through the area to see if there is any damage. But right now we're still kind of in the waiting period before this storm gets to us here. So Chris, I'm going to throw it back to you back there in the studio. And right now I'm Cody Fisher, live in Decatur.
All right, thanks, Cody. I appreciate it. You know, being in Decatur, if you're living around Decatur right now, you still have a little bit of time before these storms move in the area. But I do want to give you a couple of fresh updates. We're hearing some power outages. Western Colbert County, south of Highway 72, also south of Cherokee. So again, that's exactly where some of the strongest winds are probably most likely happening right now in Colbert County. Let's see, we're also hearing a couple of reports from viewers that power is out and also around the Waterloo area. So not only are we seeing lightning and the potential for damaging winds, then winds don't have to be going 60 miles per hour to cause any type of power outages. So keep that in mind. If you're in the Cherokee area, we are getting reports of some power outages as well. So again, as that line continues to move through, we're still watching this line like a hawk. So we're going to zoom out a little bit more, and what we're going to do next is we're going to track out the line from top of the valley to the bottom of the valley in here. And when you look at areas just outside of Red Bay, not quite to Russellville or Florence yet, and I'm going to take it again just past that warning area, which is right there just to the east of Hatton, which is going just alongside of Lawrence County and also Limestone County as well. Killen coming in here at 9:52 and Moulton at 10:14. Dan and Dimitri, you have some new information?
We've been checking the storm reports as well, Chris. We see a lot of storm reports, especially from Tennessee. In the area of Nashville right now, we're getting a lot of reports of trees down and power lines down, not too far from here. And of course, we had the reports of Colbert County being some power outages in that area.
And what I want to do now is go out to WAAY 31's Brecken Terry, who is in Lauderdale County right now. Brecken, has anything changed since the last time we checked in with you, like 12 minutes ago?
Well, I'm seeing a lot more lightning right now. Just before you guys took me here on camera, the big lightning flash, and a lot more thunder, but it's not raining here in eastern Lauderdale County just yet. So I'm actually right between Florence and Killen. If you look behind me here, that is the Shoals Creek Bridge. So anyone who's over in the Sky Park Terrace area or Kendall Gardens, you guys are definitely hearing that thunder right now. But I just spoke with all of my EMA directors in Franklin, Colbert, and Lauderdale counties. All of them tell me that they do not have any damage reports right now. Now, Colbert County EMA Director Mike Melton, he told me that they have seen wind gusts from 35 to 40 miles per hour. But again, it is not raining here in eastern Lauderdale County just yet. And I got to just brag on our EMAs here real quick. Those guys are going to stay and monitor these storms throughout the night in case anything does happen. That's who we always call to get our information, as well as the National Weather Service. And kudos to our weather team who's going to keep you guys safe. But again, just a little bit of lightning out here right now, some thunder. It's not raining here just yet, but back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Brecken. We are hearing reports of some power lines down in western Franklin County. We'll be checking on that, of course, throughout the evening.
Yeah, so let's go back into Chris.
Hey, thank you very much, Dan and Demetria. That's why we're on air here, folks, because we want you to be just kind of in the know. We want you to be updated. We want you to know that this is coverage that you can count on. We're going to be here with you all night long from start to finish. We're going to be here on air and online. As long as there's warnings going, we will be right here on air helping to keep you safe at home. So this is why we're looking at these showers and storms. We've already had reports of not so much damage, but we've already had reports of power outages, some trees down in western Franklin County. But what you're going to see with a lot of this activity, it's going to go with where Brecken is. She said she was between Florence and Killen, from nothing to heavy rain, blinding visibility, and some very strong winds within just a couple of minutes here. So what we're going to do now, we're going to continue to zoom back into those areas and give you an idea of what you can expect in terms of timing with everything. So when you time out a lot of this activity, we're going to go just to the west of Russellville, just to the west of Florence, extend that out to Rogersville as well. And then when you look at Russellville, coming in here at 9:39, Killen at 9:53, past the 10 o'clock window there at Hatton at 10:02, Moulton at 10:12. So that's what we have here. So as we continue to zoom in a little more, I want to zoom in a little bit closer to the Florence area, just because this is where a lot of this activity seems to be kind of the strongest, if you will. So as you look at alternate route 72, as you're going to 20 and 13 as well, just outside of Florence. So Muscle Shoals and Tuscummy and Florence kind of all together here. You're going to be seeing a lot of wind and also a lot of heavy rain just within the next couple of minutes. So the next couple of scans, don't be surprised if that heavy rain is just kind of plopped right on top of you as we continue to monitor and watch that line of showers and storms going through the area. So again, Severe Storm Tracker Radar doing an excellent job keeping tabs on a lot of this activity. So we're going to zoom out a little bit more. And when you look towards Colbert County, this line, again, still moving through pretty well. And what I also want to do is I want to check a lot of that wind speed. So again, when you look at this activity, we're still looking at it coming through not really at as much of a bullish pace as what it was going throughout Mississippi, but what we're dealing with, still winds very bad right now. So again, you get a lot of this activity, those bright reds that you're seeing in there, that's where you're seeing a lot of those very fast winds, especially right in there. There's the line of potentially damaging winds, the same type of winds that have already caused a few power outages around Waterloo, Cherokee. That's the line right there, folks. So again, that is just outside of Florence, Muscle Shoals, Tuscumbia. That's the line of the very gusty winds that we've been reporting to you all evening long. So again, just outside of Florence, Tuscumbia, and also Muscle Shoals. So when I track out that particular line, again, that's right along the initial line of all those oranges and yellows you're seeing right in there. That's the heavy rain, that's the wind, that's kind of that 1-2 punch that these storms have been producing all throughout Mississippi and Tennessee all evening long. So tracking out that line, that exact line of very damaging winds, 9:53 for Killen. You go to Rogersville at 10:11, and then Florence really within the next couple of minutes. Again, not even, I wouldn't even say 9:44. I'd probably say about 9:40, which is about 5-6 minutes away from that. So again, there's all the wind coming through. Remember, all these warnings are still going to be lasting into the 10 p.m. hour. So if that happens, we're going to continue to overtake our 10 o'clock newscast and continue to stay with you on all of this through all these severe thunderstorm warnings at the moment. So again, what I want to do right now is we'll get rid of those tabs, and I'm going to show you why everything is happening. So this is over the last hour. That line's coming through. You can even see how it rotates a little bit further at the top. That's an indication of those winds just kind of helping to be pushed through and really centralized between Colbert and Lauderdale County. That's why when I showed you that line, that's the line of very, very heavy winds coming through, at least about to impact Florence and Muscle Shoals. Zooming out a little more, this is the whole system, folks. Now this system extends well to the north, but this is the whole system for the Tennessee Valley. You have one line that's starting to move further to the south, a lot of damaging winds as well, just moving to the southeast of Tupelo. You have what we currently have moving throughout the Tennessee Valley. And not only that, when you take a look at the last couple of seconds on the radar loop, you can kind of see that curvature with some of that radar data. So it's just an indication of a lot of wind activity being pumped throughout the atmosphere right now. So when you look at everything, still under that severe thunderstorm watch, and folks, it's not just for the shoals, it's not just for areas west of I-65. This is all encompassing of the Tennessee Valley, and this is going to last until 1 a.m. Wednesday morning. So again, this is another reason why we're on air with you throughout the duration of this event, because at any point you can see those winds just fire up, big damaging wind, and that's why we want to keep you in the know with everything. So the storm timing tonight until 10 p.m. that may have to be extended a little bit more due to the slightly slower nature now of these storms. 10 to 11 p.m. probably have to expand that a little bit, maybe a little bit closer to midnight for, say, Huntsville, Madison, Huntsville International Airport, Harvest, Hazel Green as well. Same goes for Fayetteville as that line continues to push through. Instead of going more of a southwest to northeast nature, it's looks like it's running a little bit more north to south. So as we continue to look ahead, once you get to 11 p.m., this is where you're looking at Athens, Fayetteville, Decatur. That's when you should be expecting a lot of those heavy rain, those storms. Past midnight, Huntsville to Scottsboro, and then finally to 1 a.m. With the severe storm threat getting close to, if not ending, for DeKalb County. It should be done for Jackson County at that point, but some heavy rain back behind a lot of those storms, then we're finally in the clear once we go into early Wednesday morning. So again, we're going to backtrack a little bit and get you back to the beginning here. So you still have that line of showers and storms moving across the shoals, and one thing I do want to do is point out a couple of things. So the first thing I want to point out is the actual warning in general. So there's the warning. It's going to last until 10:15, Colbert, Lauderdale, Lawrence County. You might as well extend that into Limestone County just because it's barely going into Limestone County. But as that line continues to push through, don't be surprised if those warnings continue to be extended all across the Tennessee Valley. Just because of the nature of the line of showers and storms, you still have this activity moving through Russellville right now, Muscle Shoals and Florence, and we're going to zoom in a little bit more. We're going to get some really exact locations all throughout parts of the shoals. So we're going to zoom in a little bit closer to Tuscumbia, if you will. So there's the line going throughout Russellville right now. We're going to get a little bit closer in here. So looking at Highway 24 to Highway 43, that's where you're experiencing a lot of that heavy rain. So you have Russellville, Hester Heights going to Littleville. That's the line. A couple of light showers right now for Littleville, starting to get a little bit more intense for Russellville. Again, you're going to hear that wind at a minimum. Then you're going to deal with the rain, and this is not a good rain to try to drive around in. I know it's coming up to 9:39 at night. You know, it's a weekday, it's a Tuesday night. Hopefully a lot of people are just kind of staying inside, you know, with going to work or school in the morning. That's what we have to contend with. This is not a good night to try to drive around in something like this. This is kind of a very bad situation to do something like that, because we've already had reports of almost zero visibility due to that heavy rain. So continue to go up Highway 43, Littleville, White House Springs, Lime Rock, just getting inundated with some very heavy rain right now. Going a little bit further to the north, you go to Tuscumbia in here, Valdoza, Muscle Shoals. That's just on the outside of all that heavy rain and also a lot of those gusty winds. Dan and Demetria?
Yeah, it's interesting what you said, Chris, about driving in this. You don't want to be out on the road with this. These storms are moving at 50 to 60 miles an hour. Is that right? Their forward movement?
Yeah, they've gone down a little bit. So now they're probably about 45 to 50 miles per hour. They were going close to 60 miles per hour around Memphis, so they were hauling across the country. But yeah, I mean, they're
if you're on the road and all of a sudden a wind gust hits you at 45, 50 miles an hour, you're going to know it, and you don't want to be out on the road like that, because you get the wind, and then you're going to get this blinding rain, and you're going to be literally perhaps in a fog of blinding rain, and that is not a place you want to be during that. So stay off the roads if you can, at least for the next couple of hours until this completely blows through.
Yeah, as we mentioned, we do have a team of reporters who are all across the Tennessee Valley. We do want to check in with Charlisa Gordon right now. She's live in downtown Huntsville.
Actually, can we come back to me?
Yeah, hang on, Charlisa. We're going to go back to Chris for just a moment. He's got an update for us.
Sorry, yeah, with the new update that we just got our first tornado warning right over the shoals. So we're going to go into that warning right now. So what I just got done talking about, those areas of the strongest winds going into Tuscumbia and Florence, well, it looks like we've had enough of a rotation in there to spawn that tornado warning, which is only going to go until 10 p.m. So this is just over the next 20 minutes. So now this has turned what I talked about before. You can get those brief areas of tornado warnings coming back into the mix. So again, this is what we have right now. We're going to clear this data for you right now and show you a lot of this activity. So again, the best area of circulation right now, Muscle Shoals, as you go along alternate route 72 to a highway 184 to Lake Shores, eventually heading to Killen as well. Same goes for Florence. So again, we're going to zoom out a little bit more, and what I want to do is put a nice track on here for you. So really expansive wide track right in there. So this is the center of circulation, expanding this out over the next again, just about to 20 minutes in here, so we're going to clear that. So there you go. As you go just south of Florence, so this is what we're looking at, just south of Muscle Shoals, excuse me, not Florence, just about to downtown. This is the center of circulation right in here. Expanding that out, you're looking at Lennon Hill coming up at 10:02, Hobgood at 9:49, so 3 minutes before that. So you need to get to your safe place. You need to get to your storm shelter, basement. If you don't have either one of those, you have to go to the lowest level of your home, whether if it's 1 story, 2 story, 3 stories, you get the point. Go to the most innermost room, whether that's a bathroom or a closet, and take precautions. You want to stay away from as many windows as you can, and the idea of going to the lowest level and the most inner room to keep as many walls between you and also the outside. So that's why the more walls you have between you and the outside, the better of protection you have. So what I want to do next, I want to take a look at the rotation within this exact cell in here. So there's the velocity, trying to gauge in here where that rotation is happening. It looks like it's right about in here. So it looks like that center of rotation just south of Muscle Shoals. So again, pretty not too obvious at this moment, but then again, that's what we expected with an event like this where you have that linear line of storms. So you have the storms, you have the possibility of seeing these brief tornadoes pop up, and that's what we're looking at right now. So what I want to do next, I want to zoom in even closer in here and really peg off a couple of different areas. So again, as we go a little bit closer to Muscle Shoals, we're talking downtown Muscle Shoals, right along Tuscumbia. This is the area of dealing with not only the most intense winds, but also the possibility of seeing a brief tornado. That's going to continue along alternate Route 72, along Highway 184. So that's where you're looking at between Lister Hill and alternate Route 72, along all the way to downtown Muscle Shoals. So again, this is a serious situation, folks, because talking about this yesterday, any tornado is a dangerous tornado, whether if it's a long track tornado or one that touches and goes, it can still do a lot of damage. And that's why I want people to take precaution and really kind of understand what we're looking at here with this particular warning. So again, all around downtown Muscle Shoals to Tuscumbia, along alternate Route 72 and also Highway 72. So if you're anywhere living between alternate Route 72 and Highway 72, you need to take shelter right now. So that's why when a lot of folks come through here with this particular tornado warning, that actually extends just outside of Rogersville, passing Killen as well. So hopefully, Brecken, if you're listening to me right now out in the field, get to shelter right now. You don't want to be outside, even cutting it that close past Killen, just outside of that tornado warning. So as we continue to track out that particular potent cell going all the way through Muscle Shoals, again, that's happening right now. You should already be in your safe place. It's kind of a rapid fashion with this, folks, and that's why we're on the air right now with you to keep you safe and updated. Freeman Acres, 1009 Rogersville, that's kind of going to the extent of that tornado warning passing into the 10 o'clock hour. So remember, that tornado warning is only going to exist for the next 15 minutes unless the National Weather Service deems it a decent idea to continue it. But the circulation, very, very tough to see in a situation like this. And meteorologist Kate McKenna, she talked about that this morning. I talked about it yesterday, that you get the line of storms like this, you get those quick spin-ups, very difficult for radar to see, especially when you get these sweeps every so often. So downtown Muscle Shoals, you're going a little bit further to the east, just north of Cortland to Rogersville. That's taking a look at the rotation going all the way down the line within that particular tornado warning. So we're going to zoom back in and take a look again at this tornado warning. So you have it right over top of Muscle Shoals right now. You're probably hearing the roar of the wind at minimum, a lot of that heavy rain. But this cell continues to look like it's going to be wedged between Highway 72 and alternate Route 72. So again, if you're anywhere down the line, if you know anybody in Leeton, Town Creek, give them a call. Let them know, hey, I don't know if you know this or not, I'm just looking out for you. You have a tornado warning right now. You need to take the proper precaution to go and stay safe. Even all the way down to Rogersville. If you know anybody in Rogersville, give them a call and say, hey, heads up, in about 15 to 20 minutes. Don't be surprised if you get a tornado warning issued for your area, or just even as a precaution. Even if it doesn't happen for Rogersville or the other locations, just give them a call, let them know, hey, it's still a possibility. So that's what we're tracking right now. If you're anywhere between Highway 72, alternate Route 72, that is the trajectory of that particular storm within that tornado warning. So again, you get a lot of these winds, you get those quick spin-ups, and that's what we're dealing with right now. That's why I'm really urging people, get to your safe place, get to your storm shelter. If you are not in a structure, a solid structure, if you're in a mobile home, you gotta leave. You have to know an area where there's a permanent structure that you can get to for safety. That's kind of the last-ditch effort. If you are in a mobile home, you have to find an area that has a better structure than just being inside of a mobile home. So tornado warning or not, you get winds to 60 miles per hour, they can actually push over mobile homes. So that's why we want you to stay safe. So that is going right over the Northwest Alabama Regional Airport. A little bit further down the line, you're going to Lennon Hill at 10:02, Freeman Acres at 10:08. So again, this line can produce not just damaging wind, but also a brief tornado. And these are the tornadoes. They're not going to be long track. They're not going to be like the ones that we saw a couple of weeks ago. These ones are going to be touch and go, touch and go, touch and go. Maybe on the ground for a minute or two tops. That's all we're looking at inside of that particular storm. So again, when you look at something like this, you want to check out the rotation of it. And that's why when I look at velocity, that's what I'm looking for. So when I look at velocity, I'm really trying to find where that rotation is. And again, very, very tough to see when you look at something like this of exactly where that rotation is. Not only that, what you're about to see is a debris tracker. So don't let the name fool you here. What we're looking at is actually having to deal with debris. So when I'm looking at inside of here, I'm trying to see if there's any debris being lofted up from the potential of a tornado being on the ground. So that's why when you see debris like that, that's what I'm looking at. And what you're looking at embedded in here looks like something's trying to pop up here, but it doesn't look like it's matching too well with the exact center of circulation, but it's not too far off. I'm looking for some blues popping up here. That's a good indication of a TDS or a tornado debris signature. That's what we look at. That's what we look for as meteorologists, those TDSs. So right now it looks like it's trying to pick up something that may just be hail within the upper core of the storm, or it may be something a little bit more serious than that. So we're going to check back with that in just a little bit. So again, what we're going to do for you is track out that storm a little bit more. I'm going to push out this frame for you a little bit further to the west. Now we also switched over to the high top radar, so kind of keep that in mind. So as we continue to track out that particular storm, this is the edge of it. As it continues going further to the north and east, Aqua Vista at 9:52, Town Creek 9:58. Then you start going into 10 p.m. That's where you're looking at Rocky Hill 10:03, Rogersville 10:07. Then you're looking at Jerusalem at 10:12. That's just outside of the tornado warned area, but that's why I always like to extend it past that warned area to give people a little bit further downstream away from the storm more of an opportunity to say, hey, I'm watching it, I'm tracking it for you, and you got to understand it may eventually make it to your area if that particular cell holds together. So again, time is now 9:50. Again, what we're looking at here is the possibility of a tornado being not just on the ground, but a quick touch and go. We explained the threat throughout the last 2 to 3 days with the potential of seeing the threat for brief tornadoes. That's why we kept trying to hammer it home. Meteorologist Kate McKenna, Chief Meteorologist Stephen Bowers, we've been talking about this for a good long while now. Now that we're here, we're seeing that part of the forecast play out. So you have that line of storms coming through, and you have the potential for seeing those quick spin-ups as well. So I'm going to go back and continue to track out this line. Got some fresh data coming in here. Everything's still moving to the northeast, which appears to be roughly 45 miles per hour. Tornado warning lasting for another 8 minutes. That one is expected to be expired at 10 p.m. But the latest update that we're talking about here along Highway 184, it looks like it's going right along that highway, going over to Highway 101 as it tries to connect Town Creek to almost Foster's Mill. Doesn't really connect it exactly, but again, that's kind of the frame of my road. If you live anywhere near 101, that's what we're dealing with right now. And now I want to go quickly over to Brecken Terry. She is kind of wedged between Florence and Killen. Brecken, what are you hearing right now outside?
Yeah, I'm actually in a tornado shelter with my neighbor, Miss Karen. So thank
That's
you to
good.
her
That's
for
good.
taking care of me. Yeah, we can hear the rain just pouring it down. Now, I was just out on Highway 72, and I could see that line coming in along with the lightning, and you could feel the temperature drop, and then just the speed of that wind. There was sweet gum balls all over the road, debris and things like that, but just small debris like leaves, limbs, small limbs, things like that. But the wind, the rain, it definitely made visibility incredibly hard. And I could actually hear the sirens going off, and that was my clue that I probably needed to call Miss Karen and come get down here in the shelter.
Well, that's good. So Brecken, just staying there a little while longer than the threat for severe weather will be done for you.
And
but
Chris, I was also going to tell you right now, I'm texting a couple of my EMA directors, and Mike Melton with Colbert County EMA, he's telling me that they have trees down in the Colbert Heights area. I don't know what specific roads just yet, but we do have trees down from this line that's coming through the shoals in Colbert County.
Thank you, Brecken, so much for that report. Again, stay safe, stay in your storm shelter for probably about the next 20 minutes to be absolutely safe. And hopefully other folks are kind of taking the same route as Brecken Terry, staying inside and just waiting for this to pass through. So we still have not only that severe thunderstorm warning that's still in effect for about the next 20 to 25 minutes. We still have that outline with an embedded tornado warning all in with that. Now that one's still expected to expire at 10 p.m. unless otherwise noted from the National Weather Service. So I'm just checking out that data. real quick. They're still continuing that severe thunderstorm warning until 10:15, and that's what you're seeing here, which incorporates the rest of Colbert County, Lauderdale County, Franklin County, and also about 3/4 really of Lawrence County. So again, still that tornado warning in effect for 7 more minutes, and what Brecken Terry has said that there's a couple of reports of some trees down as well. She was hearing a lot of that wind regardless if a tornado was on the ground. Again, that's what I'm telling you. You're going to hear the wind. It doesn't matter where you live here in the Tennessee Valley. As that line moves through, at a minimum, you're going to hear it. It's just whether you get a little bit more than just maybe some gusty winds to 45 miles per hour. Hopefully you don't get the potential for the damaging winds that we've been seeing this line produce, especially throughout parts of Mississippi and also northwestern Alabama. So again, here's that line. Leighton, that is right over top of you right now, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. If you're anywhere wedged between alternate Route 72, Highway 72, Town Creek, Rogersville, if you're living anywhere within these 2 highways, seek shelter right now. You should have done it already, but I just want to reiterate, go seek shelter right now. That's what we're dealing with right now, because you can't see the tornado. This isn't like last time where you could see a little bit of it. These would be rain-wrapped tornadoes. They'd be quick touches and goes, brief areas of circulation at best. And that's why it's very, very difficult to try to dissect the radar, go inside of it, and see where that circulation is popping up. That's why when I was checking out the debris, I was really trying to see if there was anything that I could see within that area. So I'm actually going to try to check that out again. I want to see if I can see some debris within there, and that's what I keep seeing over Leighton right now. It doesn't look like it would be a strong case for a tornado on the ground, but it's definitely something I've been watching for about the last 15 minutes, because I saw it a little bit more over Tuscumbia. Now it's over Leighton, so I'm just trying to check out to see if what's called a TDS or a tornado debris signature. So that's what I'm looking at right in there, and there's the latest update. So again, that wind at minimum is coming through, probably getting some hail aloft. May not be making it all the way to the surface, maybe melting in time or melting before it reaches the ground, but that's something that I want you to at least understand. So I'm going to track this out, go out a little bit more. Again, going to Rogersville. So you have Town Creek at 9:57, Tunersville at 10:01, Rogersville 10:06, and then as you go to Jerusalem, coming in here at 10:11. So again, still have that tornado warning in effect until 10 p.m. Haven't seen any other reports of power outages, any more trees down from the National Weather Service. So that's something to at least keep in mind as we continue to track these storms and watch for a little bit of debris, maybe some damage in other areas. We've already had reports of power outages around the Cherokee area, Waterloo, Vina. They've all had some reports of some power outages here within the last 30 to 45 minutes. So now I'm tracking that tornado warning for you and giving you another update, because you get continuous radar updates. So it's always a kind of a good rule of thumb here to really do numerous tracks time and time again. So we're going to get rid of that track, and we're going to do another one. So as that continues to move through Rogersville, we're really going to see that take shape and really just kind of show you exactly what to expect. So again, that tornado warning, Muscle Shoals, Tuscumbia, that's until 10 p.m. The severe thunderstorm warning, which includes Florence and Muscle Shoals, also extends out just north, or including Hatton, just north of Moulton. That's what you're looking at as you go towards Moulton and central Lawrence County. So again, you have a couple of warnings in here. You have the main severe thunderstorm warning, tornado warning in the mix. But notice, the line is moved completely north and south. And as opposed to what we were looking at earlier, we were looking at kind of that tilted line to go through. That's no longer the case. What we're actually experiencing right now is that line that will continue to move through. This is a loop of the last hour, but I want to zoom out a little bit and show you this is the line punching through. The northern part of the line towards Columbia, Nashville, that's still going to produce some severe weather. What we're dealing with right now, all that wind energy is coming through. So that's why this portion of the line is racing well ahead of everybody else. So that's why we have that tornado warning in effect until 10 p.m. So in the next 2 minutes, we're really going to wait and see if that tornado warning will continue or if they'll let that expire and go back to a severe thunderstorm warning. So we're going to zoom in and get another track to that tornado warning. So again, there's the line coming through. It's about to go through Town Creek, just minutes away from Town Creek along Highway 184. That's what you're seeing right along in here near Lister Hill. So if you're in Lennon Hill, that's about to go right over to you. So again, that's what we're looking at this present moment. What I want to do right now is kind of check out the velocity data again, or winds that are going to or away the radar site. Just because I'm trying to check out and dissect this radar in real time here, and I'm really trying to see where that circulation is coming into play. Because when you look at the radar data, you're seeing that little bit of a notch. So when you see that notch peek out, that's showing the winds are trying to go into the storm and then push ahead of the storm. So you get that rotation coming in here. So that's why when I look at the velocity data, that's why I'm trying to check that out. I'm trying to see that circulation to see if in fact we have anything rotating in the meantime, or if anything is actually reaching the ground.
Coverage you can count on. WAAY 31 News at 10 starts now.
All right, meteorologist Chris Smith here in the Severe Storm Tracking Center. We've been tracking for you severe thunderstorms, a tornado warning throughout the last hour to hour and a half. So thank you very much for joining us. The time is now 10 p.m. and it looks like they've let that tornado warning that I was just tracking for you expire. And I'm just double checking on that. Yeah, the National Weather Service let that that particular tornado warning expire. But we've already had numerous reports this evening, a couple of trees down, numerous power outages. Waterloo, Cherokee, Vina, they've all had reports of power outages in the area. One of our reporters, Brecken Terry, she actually had to go seek shelter during the one tornado warning because she was between Florence and Killen, so that was right on the edge there. So it was great news for her that she was able to find a storm shelter kind of at a fast pace. But what we're left with at this moment, I'm going to zoom out so I can show you the whole Tennessee Valley and what we're dealing with at this present hour. So if you're east of I-65, you got a whole lot of nothing right now. If you're west of I-65, you're dealing with a potent line of showers and storms. And I talked about this earlier. There's a lot of lightning being generated from all the storms that you're seeing all throughout here. So it is not a good idea to be outside trying to check out some of these storms. You want to stay inside. We've already had numerous reports of winds strong enough to cause power outages, some trees down, and that's what we're seeing at this point in time. So that line extends just about as north-south as what you can get between southern Lawrence County going into Lawrence County into southern middle Tennessee. So what we're left with right now is actually a severe thunderstorm warning, which is going to be in effect until 10:15. And there's the one particular border for that. So again, what you're really seeing inside of that area is that severe thunderstorm warning for Colbert, Lauderdale, excuse me, my earpiece keeps falling out, at 10 until 10:15 for tonight. And we got about another 7 minutes left on that warning. If the National Weather Service chooses to extend it, we will continue to stay on air and online because our goal here at WAAY 31 is to keep you safe. And to do that, we have to be on air. We have to have the ability to get you life-saving information at a moment's notice. That's why we're on air. That's why we're online. And that's why we're tracking all these storms for you in real time. So again, Severe Storm Tracker, checking out a lot of this activity. And we're going to zoom in a little bit more. So again, there's the line of showers and storms. There's a lot of lightning attached to it. And we're going to check out some of the tracks here for you. So just outside of Moulton, going through North Cortland to Rogersville. And I'm going to extend it now to I-65. And the reason why I'm doing that, with this line going at about 45, 50 miles per hour, that should extend it to Athens and Decatur by the time we even get to 10:30, 10:45. And that's why I want to go even extending that. So I'm going well past the warning. I don't care about the warning. I want people to understand that this line has a good chance of continuing, whether if it's a warned storm or not. So we're going to go through a couple of times here. Speak 10:24, Athens 29, and Decatur at 10:33. Dana Demetria.
All right, thanks, Chris. And if you're just joining us, we are tracking a line of severe weather moving through the Tennessee Valley at this hour, damaging winds, a large hail potential with these storms, and even a couple of isolated tornadoes not out of the question. We've already had some, as Chris mentioned, radar-indicated storms, tornadoes coming out of these storms as this line races through the Tennessee Valley from west to east. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dan Schaefer.
And I'm Demetria McClinton. And tonight, WAAY 31 is bringing you team coverage across the Tennessee Valley, from Huntsville to the Shoals. Our reporters are in the field monitoring those current conditions in your area. And you're going to be hearing from each of them throughout our coverage tonight.
Here in the studio, WAAY 31 meteorologist Chris Smith following this storm carefully, analyzing the latest data. He's been on the air solid now for about the last hour, tracking these storms since the first weather warning was issued. He joins us now again with the latest updates. Chris?
Yeah, thank you very much, Dan and Demetria. And again, what we're going to do is show you what we're dealing with right now and what is the cause of everything. So plenty of showers, plenty of storms right now. Tracking out this particular line, Rogersville, within the next, 30 seconds, maybe minute and a half before you really start seeing that heavy rain, feeling a lot of that wind, hearing that wind, the roar of the wind coming through. Moulton at 10:11, Speak at 10:24, Athens at 10:29, Decatur at 10:33. So that's the line pushing through right now. What we've seen throughout the last several hours is this very large storm system, which started out yesterday as nothing. As we roared into the afternoon, showers and storms really started to blossom, had several severe thunderstorm warnings between western Tennessee, Mississippi, Arkansas. What we're left with here now is essentially two more parts to this system. You have one part going to Columbia. That part's going to continue to stay further north. What we're dealing with is actually the more dangerous part of the system, and that's a bowing line segment. So the line that you're seeing here, you can see how it bows out a little bit. If any of you hunters out there, you know what I'm talking about. It's bowing out a little bit. So what that means is all the wind that's rushing behind the system is being focused in on a certain point. So what we're left with is those higher wind gusts, the potential for damaging winds, and we actually just got new data in here with appears to be a new warning, which involves Morgan County and also Limestone County. So we're going to clear that out of the way. This is the new warning. Athens, Decatur included, for Tuesday until 10:45 p.m. So that's why when I got done talking about everything, and that's why I was extending a lot of that activity, just to show you that even going past that extension, more than likely that line is going to continue, and in fact, it has. So this is the extent now of that new severe thunderstorm warning, just going past Athens, just going past Decatur. So we're going to track out the line first, kind of broad brush. So as we continue to go throughout southern Lawrence County, continuing along that track, this line, again, I'm going to go to Huntsville. So just to give folks around Huntsville, Madison area, an understanding of when it's going to arrive here. So 10:54 for Madison, 11:07 for Huntsville, Decatur 10:36, Speak 10:26, Moulton at 10:15. So again, we have that line of showers and storms moving into the mix. Now we're going to zoom in and do a little bit of a more in-depth analysis of a lot of that track. So again, we're going to zoom in a little bit more. We're going to stay a little bit closer. We'll stay within Rogersville, Athens, Decatur area. So I'm going to track out these storms and give you an idea of what to expect. We're going to go, we'll go just south of Town Creek, southeast, staying kind of in between alternate Route 72 and Highway 72. This system is essentially being generated west to east at this point. We're not looking at any more diagonal, kind of a diagonal run with these storms. It's just about north and south right now and bowing a little bit closer towards southern Lawrence County. So you have Hillsborough 1017, Rogersville 1007, Athens 1032, Mooresville at 1040. So you have that line pushing through. We're going to zoom in a little bit more now. So as we continue to look at this line really gaining some momentum, we're going to go a little bit closer to Town Creek. So this is where a lot of this activity is very heavy right now. So Town Creek, gusty winds at a minimum, probably seeing some damaging winds, at least winds maybe up to 40, 45 miles per hour going along alternate Route 72, eventually taking to Hillsborough within the next 5 to 15 minutes. Dan and Demetria?
All right. Thanks very much, Chris. We are getting more storm reports in as we speak. We have one coming in from U.S. Highway 72 near True Value Hardware in Killen. That trees have been knocked down by these gusty winds into the roadway, and a couple of cars maybe have hit these trees. So if you can't avoid the roads, please do so. It's at your own peril if you're going to be out on the streets during severe weather like this.
And Lauderdale EMA reports that the trees and power lines are down in Waterloo. Trees down 141 North Crown Street, near Natchez Trace, near Nellie Avenue, Hermitage, Sweetwater Avenue in Florence. And they have a road that's blocked. Waterloo Road blocked, County Road 1 to County Road A. They're also reporting trees down in that area.
And we've also had official reports now out of Muscle Shoals of winds gusting up to 62 miles per hour. That's just shy of hurricane strength, folks. That's a major tropical storm strength and almost to the scale of a minor hurricane, a Cat 1 hurricane, which would be at 72. This is 62-mile-an-hour winds, and that'll do a lot of damage to things like fences, trees, barns, sheds, even roofs, lanais, things like that.
Yeah, and we do want to check in with WAAY 31's Brecken Terry because she's actually in Lauderdale County right now. Brecken, you are in a safe spot right now, but what do you hear outside?
Well, I heard some sirens, and I know Chris listed that the warning or that warning has been lifted. So I actually heard those sirens. I'm actually out on Highway 72 right now, looking for where y'all said that some of those trees and things were down over here in Killen. But we do have some power outages in East Florence as well as Waterloo, according to Lauderdale County EMA. Multiple trees down in the Colbert Heights area, according to Colbert County EMA as well. So definitely seeing, some storm damage with this line of storms that's coming through the area. I can tell you right now here in Killen, going down Highway 72, everyone out here has power. But there aren't actually a lot of people on the road right now because Highway 72, it's the main thoroughfare that goes through the shoals. And normally around this time of night, I can hear the cars going past here all the time. Not a lot of people out on the road right now, which is a good thing. But again, I am out and actually looking for some storm damage right now, guys. So back to y'all.
Brecken Terry reporting live for us from Lauderdale County.
Yeah, and I do believe that we have WAAY 31's Cody Fisher, who's standing by also in Decatur. And Cody, tell us about what you see out in your area.
Well, Dan and Machia, right now we still don't have any rains where I'm standing right here, just along Highway 72 as it comes into Decatur, but we are starting to get more of those gusty winds that Chris has been talking about. And actually just to my west of where I'm standing right now, I can actually start to see a lot of those lightning strikes, or at least the lightning up in the clouds. So we're starting to see the storm get closer and closer. Now, just within the last 10 minutes, I have spoken with Joe Wheeler EMC, which supplies electricity for a lot of Lawrence and Morgan County, and we have not seen any power outages as of yet. And for Limestone County, Morgan County, and Lawrence County emergency management officials, they have not reported any damage to us as of right now. But as Chris was telling us just a couple of minutes ago, this storm is making its way to this location where I'm standing right now. So just check back in with me later and I'll give you guys an update. Reporting live in Decatur, Cody Fisher, WAAY 31 News.
Thanks very much, Cody. We're getting reports also of more power lines down, more power outages in the area of the Muscle Shoals, specifically Lauderdale County.
Right. There's a viewer that was reporting a power outage in the southwestern Franklin County as well on Facebook. And I believe we have, around 1,300 power outages right now in that area, Chris?
Yeah, that's right. That's from their emergency manager. That's the latest data that's coming in here. Roughly, almost 1,400 people without power within Lauderdale County, kind of wedged between Waterloo, going a little bit towards Killen, and the rest are scattered throughout the county. So that's the latest updated information in here. So still looking at that potent line of showers and storms between Rogersville all the way to Hatton and Moulton as well. So you're looking at Town Creek, Hillsborough, that line continues to move through. And what I want to do next, I want to continue to go through and really go up and down this line. We're going to go down a little bit more first. So as you go towards Moulton, Moulton's dealing with a lot of that heavy rain right now. This is the beginning of it for you. So if you're in the Moulton area and you're hearing my voice, if you still have power, that is, you're going to deal with this for about the next 15 minutes. So that's the heavy rain. That's the gusty to maybe damaging winds. But even going a little bit further down the line, that's going to bring you more towards Decatur. Decatur, you have 15 more minutes before that line impacts your area. Not only that, going a little bit further up the line, Rogersville dealing that right now. Same goes for Anderson, as along Highway Route 99. A little bit further into Limestone County. Not much activity right now in Limestone County. That's just crossing within the county line there. So Elkmont, you still have a little bit more time probably about another 15 to 20 minutes. But what I want to do is I'm going to go a little bit further south. I'm going to go until we get to about Highway 560 or Interstate 565. As I continue to track out this line just to the west of Hillsborough and Rogersville, going out a little bit, that should take it to Decatur at 10:28. Remember, this warning that you're seeing here is still going to be in effect for another 20 to 30 minutes, so we still have a good long while before this particular warning finally expires. Keep in mind, we're probably going to see a continuation of a lot of these warnings, at least past Huntsville. Athens at 10:34, Decatur at 10:28, Swancott 10:43, Trinity 10:21, Hillsborough at 10:15. That's for this particular line that you're seeing in here, crossing over I-65, going along 565 towards Huntsville. Highway 72 eventually hitting Madison, or at least the northern side of Madison, just south, or really between Madison and Harvest at that point. But when you look at this system all together, we're going to go back and take a look at the home view again, just so I can bring people up to speed, let people know where you're at in all of this activity. If you're behind the line here, so if you're in Florence, Muscle Shoals, Tuscumbia, Red Bay, as you go towards Russellville, you are no longer looking at the threat for severe weather. Your threat for severe weather is done. You're still getting heavy rain right now and also breezy winds, but at least the potential for the severe weather for you is done. If you're anywhere along this line and to the east, your severe weather threat is not done yet. We still have a little bit more time for this line to move through, probably looking at 1 to 2 o'clock in the morning by the time that line completely moves through the Tennessee Valley. So what we're left with is a continuation at this moment of severe thunderstorm warnings, along with the possibility of seeing an embedded tornado. We already saw one warning of that in nature just about 20 to 25 minutes ago. But when you look at the last hour, there's the rush of that line of showers and storms. So you just really see the convective nature, or really the powerful nature, the building nature of all these storms moving through. And that's kind of what we're looking at this moment. Zooming out a little bit more, there's the line. It's still going to continue to move through the Tennessee Valley next couple of hours. This is the main system that's causing all of this action. We're still under a severe thunderstorm watch until 1 a.m. That's for everybody here in the Tennessee Valley, but notice counties just outside of the shoals have been taken out of the watch. Don't be surprised if I'm talking about this in the next 10 to 15 minutes to where the shoals are taken out of the severe thunderstorm watch. So that's something to at least be a little bit more to look forward to at that point. Storm timing, still okay with that. Moulton and Athens, you're still looking at it right now, so we're at 10:16 at this moment. So far, doing okay with our timing, 10 to 11 p.m., including Athens, Decatur, Huntsville, and Fayetteville. That may get skewed a little bit more towards 11 or 12 o'clock tonight, depending on if that speed continues to dwindle down. As far as what to expect as we look ahead, we get to midnight tonight. That line should be just past Decatur, if not already by that point. Same goes for Huntsville to Gurley, getting a little bit closer to High Top. And then once you get to 1 to 2 o'clock in the morning, the line of storms, the threat for severe weather is done. You're still dealing with a little bit of rain on the backside and some breezy winds as well. And yes, the winds will continue to be breezy throughout Wednesday. But at least on Wednesday, by the time you get in the morning, drier weather and also looking at clearer weather. Weather impacts through tonight. Winds still looking at the possibility of up to 60 miles per hour. We got a high impact for that. Large hail still a possibility. We haven't seen a lot of reports of hail. We've only had so far one report of hail, and that was pea-sized hail not too long ago. We've already had one tornado warning thus far, so that's why the threat for a brief tornado still comes back into play. So again, with everything that's really happened here, last couple of hours, we're still looking at everything moving through, continuing to move through. Once we get into, say, 12, 1 o'clock, when that line finally moves across, or at least by 11 o'clock, with that line moving right across I-65. So again, this is what we're looking at right now, that heavy line of showers and storms continuing to move through. Before I get into a track, Dan and Dimitri, you have something?
Yeah, our WAAY 31 reporter Rebecca Terry joins us live again on the phone. She has reports now of damage to some of the homes in the Sheffield area and a lot of tree damage in that area as well. We're working to get her online right now, but she's been reporting from the Shoals area all afternoon and evening, and she has heard reports of power outages and tree limbs down and No reports of flooding, thankfully. That was a big concern.
No, we haven't heard
but
that yet.
These storms are moving so fast. They're not having a chance to put down a whole lot of rain. I mean, Doppler estimates in a quarter to half-inch rain totals maybe as these storms move through. Chris can talk a little bit more about that later, but not a lot of rain out of this because it's moving so fast. The big impact is going to be the wind damage, and we have seen some of that.
Exactly. So let's go ahead and check in with Brecken right now. Brecken.
Hey guys, yeah, so I just spoke with Culver County EMA Director Mike Melton. He told me that there is a tree that is down on a home, through a home, over on Spring Court in Sheffield. I asked him if everyone was okay, and he said, yeah, they were just saying that, you know, a ton of water was coming into their house, obviously because a tree has fallen on their home over in Sheffield. And I was actually I'm still on Highway 72, but the Killen Volunteer Fire Department, they had a huge tree over Highway 72, and they got that thing cut up in a matter of minutes and cleared the way for traffic. So they were just clearing that scene when I pulled up there, and that's when they were telling me they were going to some other county roads that had some smaller trees down on them. But I'm hearing a lot of damage reports out of Calvert County, so that's why I'm heading that way now.
Brecken, we had heard reports that maybe a car had run into that tree that was across Highway 72.
Yeah.
That's not correct.
No, a car did not run into that tree that was down along Highway 72. If that was the case, then they would still be there right now. But no, a car did not run over that tree. I'm sure it probably looked like it maybe from the back or something with all the cars stopping because they couldn't get around it. But thankfully, the Killen Volunteer Fire Department got out there and chopped it up and got traffic flowing once again. And again, that's what people need to think about right now. Our police officers, our firemen, and especially our volunteer fire departments, our EMAs, they're all out right now working, just like we are. And so definitely kudos, and our linemen as well, everyone getting the power back on and things like that. So definitely appreciate all of our first responders out here.
Yeah, a lot of county crews were already on standby this afternoon and evening in anticipation of these severe weather events that are coming through now.
Exactly. So let's go ahead and get back to Chris, because I believe you have some new data.
Hey, I do. So we have everything as it continues to move through. Let's go back to the radar first before we go back to the weather cam real quick, because I wanted to show folks what's happening with the line of showers and storms. So as you get a lot of these showers and storms, much like today was a very, very windy day. We had a wind advisory for most of the afternoon, and what we're still left with is a whole lot of wind, and that wind's going to pick up if you get inside of any of these storms in here. So I want to zoom in a little bit more just to give you an idea of what we're experiencing here. So we're going to zoom in a little bit more and a little bit more. So when you look at the point in Madison, we have a weather cam that's right along Madison Boulevard, pointed now just about to the north and west. So it's actually looking towards Athens. So now we can go to that camera so I can show you what it looks like outside. You're not going to see a ton, but one thing I do want to show you are the flags. I mean, the flags are whipping around pretty well, even with the lag here. The winds are very, very blustery outside. So that's our view from Madison at this moment. So when we go back to the radar, this is all before the line arrives. So our weather camera is right there, looking to the north and west towards Athens. So it's not really catching a lot of the lightning at that point, still a lot of light pollution around the camera, but you get the understanding of it's a very windy atmosphere right now. A lot of showers and a lot of storms coming back into play. So as that line gets closer, the wind speeds are going to increase little bit by little. You get to that line, and that's when it's going to ramp up. So that's why I'm trying to at least keep everybody in the know in what to expect here with that line moving through. So we're going to track out that line for you again. And what I want to show you is as we go into Morgan County through Limestone County and tracking this out a little bit more to the east. And again, I'm going well past the ending of that warning. Again, I don't care that that warning ends right there, because this is going to be an event where I can just about guarantee the National Weather Service here, they're just going to continue to keep those warnings trucking along just because of the threat for winds at least gusting up to 60 miles per hour. So including Madison Crossroads, just going past Highway 231 to 431. You're looking at Decatur 1027, Priceville 1035, Madison at 1045, Huntsville coming in here at 1058. So that's why as this line continues to move through, we're still watching this activity very, very closely for you. So that's kind of a broad brush look at the track. As we go in a little bit more, I'm going to go in a little bit closer to Decatur. So as we go a little bit closer to Decatur, you're going to notice a couple of things. One, this part of the storm is the farthest out in front. It's actually one of the leading lines of that entire line of showers and storms, and with good reason. Inside of that area of very heavy rain, those oranges, yellows, and reds, you are probably going to see a lot of wind energy associated with it. So I want to bump this out a little bit, show you some of the velocity. So you get those bright greens in there. That's showcasing a lot of wind energy coming through. I know that's probably not meaning a lot to you at home at this moment, but keep in mind, I'm dissecting these storms live on the air. So any new data that comes in, I'm seeing it live, the same as you at home. So that's why periodically I do have to look at velocity or a debris signature just to see how these storms are interacting with everything else. But it's definitely looking like winds. They're hauling behind this part of the line. So I'm going to go and continue to track this out. We're still looking at the possibility of that line moving right into downtown Decatur. So if you're anywhere downtown Decatur, you're going to be dealing with a lot of that heavy rain and also wind at this point. Dan, Demetria?
You mentioned Decatur, and we have WAAY 31's Cody Fisher right there.
Right, and Cody, are the winds starting to pick up in your area?
Yeah, Demetria, the winds are actually starting to pick up, but for you right now, I'm actually going to pan around, and right now I'm actually underneath the overhang of a gas station. But I just want to get behind the camera here and show you all what is happening with the sky to the west of me. First of all, you see the street lights starting to sway there. That's indicative of the winds that we're starting to feel here. I can't really put a gauge on it, and if Mother Nature will help me out here, see, there's the lightning that we're starting to see a little bit more. And as the lights start to, and it looks like we actually just lost some street lights here in our area. I will be calling the Decatur Power Company here shortly after I get after this live hit to see kind of exactly if this was because of the storm. It likely was. And as you see, the lightning continues to light up the sky as the storm is coming through. And you can almost see when the lightning strikes, it kind of backlights the rain as it's also coming through. And the wind's blowing around my camera a little bit here. And hair off my head. So yeah, the wind is really starting to pick up now here in Decatur. So if you guys just stay with me here, sorry about this. And my hat's now gone. The rain is starting to come down pretty heavy. So it's coming in right now as you're watching live here in Decatur. So if you're outside, it's probably a good suggestion to get inside, because this is starting to whip around in my eyes now, and that is the camera's starting to try and want to blow over. Guys, I gotta get inside.
Yeah,
I gotta
Cody,
get inside.
Get inside. Get inside right now. This is not. You saw exactly what that line was like, and I showed you right before it happened, right before it hit Decatur, and I told people, if you're in downtown Decatur, that's exactly what you're going to see. And I'm glad and also upset that he stayed out there that long. But it's going to show you that's what this line is doing. It goes from nothing to full-fledged wind, heavy rain in an instant, and that's exactly what we saw with Cody in downtown Decatur. So again, hopefully he's taking shelter, and hope he finds his hat down the line. So again, we have new severe thunderstorm warnings in effect here. We're going to check out this new data that's coming in here right now. So again, you have that severe thunderstorm warning, and I talked about this before, and it's just proving me right. I don't care where the warning ends. We're going to see a continuation of it more than likely throughout the rest of the Tennessee Valley. So that's why when I track everything, I extend it well past that area. So the new warning that we're seeing at this moment, you're looking at Coleman, Vinemont, so that's dipping into Coleman County. Then you have another one for Decatur and now for Huntsville. So what we have right now, you have that warning coming into play, which includes now Madison County, Limestone County, and now Marshall County as well. So I'm going to clear that data for you. We're going to go back and check out this system as a whole. So before we track everything for you, I want to point out a couple of things. The new warning that we have in place now extends right along Madison County and Jackson County line. That also now slices through. Can we just get rid of the lower third just real quick, and then we can bring it right back up. So again, you look at that Gunnersville line. So that line continues to go right into Marshall County and continue all the way through. Can we get rid of that real quick or no? Probably not. Thanks. This will be real quick. So again, there's the line for the severe thunderstorm warning going into Coleman County. So that's the extent of it. But notice it does not include Lincoln County. So again, now we can bring back the lower third. So again, that's what we're looking at here. So I'm going to do this all over again. I'm going to show you the broad brush view of the track, taking it all the way through. Now I'm going to go to Guntersville and even Scottsboro. Madison 1044, Athens 1029, Huntsville 1057. So you have roughly 20 to 25 minutes left for that storm to hit the Madison and Huntsville area. New Market 11:11 p.m., Guntersville 11:29. So now I'm going to go back and check out some more local features, if you will. So looking at this line, it doesn't look to be as active around Athens, but it looks like from what WAAY 31's Cody Fisher had in Decatur, that wind was hauling, to say the least. And I tried to tell you about that, try to warn you about that. Stay inside. This is not an event where you want to go outside, try to drive around. This is not a night like that. Just stay inside. Most of you probably have work or school in the morning anyway. So just kind of take it easy. Watch me throughout the rest of tonight so you can get the information you need, and then you can head to bed. So Athens, 1032, Swancott at 1041, Madison 1045, Huntsville 1058, Moores Mill at 1106. So that's this particular line. Again, a lot of damaging winds, at least the potential for that. We saw that with Cody again in Decatur. This line is something serious. And if we can go back to our weather cam again in Madison just to see if there's any change with that. So there's the flags. Notice they're starting to get a little bit stronger. They're flapping a little bit harder out there. So it's just going to show you that that wind's really starting to pick up. And you can actually see some lightning strikes well into the distance. Again, when you look at the view going this way, that's looking towards Athens. So you're seeing all the lightning strikes there in the background going to Athens. We're going to check back in with this camera in a little bit so we can see that line really approach the Madison area. So there's the Athens area, and that's going to reach in within the next, well, probably happening right now. But when you look at our camera going in that direction, all the lightning you're seeing there, as a matter of fact, what I'm going to do for you at home, I'm going to bring up all the lightning strikes again. I haven't done this in a while because I'm going to show you the potency of all of these showers and storms. So when you look at this, there's a lot of lightning strikes taking place, especially around Athens and Decatur. And that's at least something that you want to at least kind of acknowledge through everything in here. So there you go. There's the line. Whole lot of lightning embedded within everything. So that's why I just kind of want people to understand it's not just the wind or the rain. It's also the potential for seeing a couple of lightning strikes in there. So that's what we have at this moment. Still a lot of lightning embedded with everything. Again, going back in, we're going to zoom in. This time we're going to go into Limestone County. So we're going to go closer to Athens, give people around Athens an idea, going into the northern part of Madison County, what to expect. So we're going to track out this line. We'll go from 565. We're really just kind of going right along 65 at that moment, going right past downtown Huntsville, going right to the station here in Montesano. You have Mooresville, 1031, New Haven, 1040, Madison, 1044, Huntsville, 1057, Moores Mill, 1102. Remember, this is an event that everybody here in the Tennessee Valley is going to deal with in some way, shape, or form, whether if it's some very gusty winds, blinding heavy rain. Everyone's going to get the blinding heavy rain and gusty winds. It's just what type of strength of winds that we're looking at here. And even checking out some of the latest data coming in here, we've had a lot of reports of some trees down, some damage. When you look at Lauderdale and Colbert County, a lot of power outages as well. We've had a couple of reports of some roads in Franklin County that were blocked by a couple of trees. So I know people are really working really hard to probably get those trees out of the way. But this is where the line stands at this moment. Again, Mooresville at 1031, Madison 1044, Huntsville 1057, 1102 for Moores Mill. So that's the line at this moment. And as we continue to go through, we're going to zoom in even a little bit more here. Make sure, there we go. So we're going to go right along 5, 65, and 65 where they connect. So when you look at Mooresville, you're starting to go along 565. Say if you're going to go to exit 2 or 3, maybe even towards the county line exit, this is where you're starting to take shape at that line. When you look at county line here, that line is really not that much farther away. That heavy rain continues to move through along 565, cresting over I-65 at this moment. So again, we're looking at heavy rain, damaging winds, and a whole trifecta of things. But the good news from what I've seen so far in dissecting a lot of this data, I haven't seen the circulations release enough of one to warrant maybe even a brief tornado. So that's some good news as well. Dan and Demetria?
Well, we were just looking at storm reports here, Chris, and they are coming in of trees and power lines down, and we had reports of at least one tree onto a car. We don't think anybody was in that car when it happened. This is, again, out in the shoals. I don't have the exact location on me right now. But there are numerous reports of trees down in power lines, and just evidenced by that live shot we saw there a few moments ago from Cody Fisher, who, by the way, is safe.
Yes,
we
he
should
is
mention
okay.
That. He has gotten into a shelter, and he is safe. We'll hear from him again as soon as it's safe for him to get it back outside and show us. But you saw how fast those winds have come up, and Chris mentioned that. You go from almost nothing to all of a sudden 50, 60-mile-an-hour winds and blinding rain that just blows through. It doesn't last all that long, maybe 10, 15 minutes, but it's violent when it comes through.
And that's why it's so important to stay off the roads if you don't need to be on the road right now. We saw how quickly, you said it, how fast things changed when we went to Cody's live shot.
Yeah, and I don't know if you noticed it also, but he was at an overpass, an overhang, I should say, for a gas station. And there was a lot of debris, even just picked up just trash cans, things started blowing around really, really quickly.
Right.
So you don't want to be out in that when that starts to happen. That can be very dangerous.
Yeah. All right, Chris?
All right, so the latest information, I just got done talking about this. I said don't be surprised, 5 to 10 minutes, if I talk about the shoals being taken out of the severe thunderstorm watch. Lo and behold, that's what happened. Lauderdale, Colbert, Franklin counties, you can go to bed, you can rest easy right now. You are no longer in a severe weather threat at all. You still got some wind, some rain, but it's not severe anymore. But you are taken out of that severe thunderstorm watch. And as that line progressively continues to move through, again, we're going to be looking at more counties being taken out of that severe thunderstorm watch over the course of the next couple of hours. But again, this is what we have right now. We have the edge of that severe thunderstorm warning throughout half of Marshall County, including ARAB. ARAB's in on this. Gunnersville, it's kind of right along that border, but I just checked this out not too long ago. What I want to do in just a second here, we're going to check out that camera in Madison probably in the next couple of minutes here, not right now. But remember, that camera is not too far away. It's pointed to the north and west. So we're going to see the same thing that Cody did. Big uptick in wind, rain. So you're going to go from very little to a whole bunch, especially if you're going to be anywhere along 565 or 72. Now I want to toss it out to WAAY 31's Brecken Terry. Brecken Terry, where are you at and what new information do you have?
Right now I am in Florence on Veterans Drive. I'm heading out towards Sheffield because, you know, like I said earlier, we have a tree that is through a home on Spring Court. But I just talked with Colbert County EMA Director Mike Melton once again, and I asked him, I said, do we have any other damage reports in the county? And he said pretty much from the middle part of the county to the eastern border, they've got tons of trees down, pretty much over half of Colbert County. And I don't want to exaggerate here and say it's a ton of trees, but he was saying they have trees down on so many county roads that he can't give me the list just yet because he's busy trying to write it all down. But once again, volunteer fire departments, other people probably out there cleaning those up right now. So it shouldn't be too much of a travel concern, especially for people waking up and driving in the morning. But again, I'm going out and I'm going to get some video of these damaged areas, see if I can talk with some concerned citizens. But right now over in Florence, it's still lightning and it's still raining and it's gotten way colder. It's like 70, it feels like it's about 70 degrees right now. That's what, I mean, it is. I had to get my big jacket out. You know, I don't like being cold.
Well, Brecken, I'm glad you're safe in there. Thank you very much for the updating and be safe out there. Just be wary of maybe a couple of those trees, you know, basically just debris on the roadways. And some new information I want to talk about. I know how we saw Cody's live shot, the big gust of wind. We have the wind data now. So at that point, the peak wind gust at Decatur's airport was 72 miles per hour. That's impressive. And Cody was outside during that event. And that's why we're on the air right now, because you see this line and at any moment you can see those winds gusting instantaneously like that. We already had a lot of that wind damage, some tree damage, power outages throughout parts of the shoals. We just had that new report of 72. I'm looking at it again just to make sure. 72 mile per hour wind gusts that's coming right from the National Weather Service at Decatur's airport. So very impressive. And that's probably the largest wind gust. I think that's the largest wind gust we've seen so far throughout this entire evening. So again, and just to go through some times and locations one more time, Madison 10:43, Huntsville 10:55, New Hope 11:09, Princeton at 10:20. keep in mind this line is now past I-65. So now east of I-65, anywhere between Morgan County to Hartselle, Lacey Spring as well. This line is going to be heading in your location in not too much longer. So, and again, we're going to go down a little bit further. We're going to go into Morgan County real quick and really check out a couple of those things. Priceville, right along 65, dealing with a lot of wind and rain as well. Dan and Demetria?
All right, thanks so much, Chris. We are going to check in with WAAY 31's Charlisa Gordon. She is live right now in Huntsville. And Charlisa, where in Huntsville are you located right now?
Dimitri, I'm standing right outside the Emergency Management Office here in downtown Huntsville for Madison County's Emergency Management. And I can tell you that there's no one inside right now, but they do have someone on standby in case they need it for tonight. Right now, the weather condition here in Madison County, we're not seeing that strong wind that Cody did in Decatur, but we have seen some wind pick up here over here in Huntsville. But I just wanted to let you guys know that we haven't seen the rain or the strong winds that our friends to the west have. But I do want to say that the Emergency Management Office here says they are prepared and ready if they get word that it's going to be hitting our area harder than expected. Again, we will continue to track all storm damage, power outages, and road closures throughout the night. Again, reporting live in Huntsville, Charlisa Gordon, WAAY 31 News.
All right, thanks very much, Charlize. We appreciate that. We have Cody Fisher back with us. Not on camera, but he's on the phone now. He's safe. It looks like the worst of that storm has blown through. Is that correct, Cody?
We're still getting some pretty decent winds here, and I just heard quite a loud rumble of thunder. So, but if what you're saying and Chris is saying that the worst of the storm has blown through, then I trust that judgment. After my little incident, I guess if you could say, at underneath the overhang of that gas station, I tried to make my way to a storm shelter at the Morgan County courthouse, but they weren't opening up the doors. I saw people inside, but they weren't opening up the doors, and our assignment editor, Rachel Keith, told me that they typically don't open up the doors unless there is a tornado warning. So, and since that was not in place, they saw me, they kind of looked at me, and they didn't open up the doors. So, and I've seen 2 or 3 cars come by and also trying to get in, and they were not letting people in. But as I'm speaking right now, the rain is starting to die down here in Decatur just a little bit, and so are the winds. So currently that is the situation here.
Okay, so the latest information I have, keep in mind, let's go to the camera real quick in Madison, right along 565. Okay, so this is the camera shaking around very intensely. The reason why is that there was a wind gust reported at Huntsville International Airport at 70 miles per hour. So there is a lot of wind coming through right now between Decatur going along to Huntsville, right along 565. So we're going to go back to the Severe Storm Tracker radar and kind of check out a lot of this activity. So there's the wind. It's going to continue to move through right now. We even got a couple of new severe thunderstorm warnings for Lincoln County. Again, we're going to go there in just a hot second. But there's winds being reported 70 miles per hour along this line between Decatur going into Huntsville International Airport. So we're going to zoom in and really take a look at a lot of this activity. So again, we're going to zoom in a little bit more as you get towards New Haven. Huntsville International Airport's kind of right embedded right along in here. So that's what you're looking at right here, the Huntsville International Airport. So those winds really rushing through. We had a wind gust, 72 miles per hour in Decatur, 70 miles per hour at Huntsville International Airport. So when we take a look at some of this data, I want to take a look at some of this velocity data and really see where a lot of this activity is. So again, you're looking at 565. There is all that big gust of wind right now. So that's traveling along Madison Boulevard. If you're in the Lake Forest community, if you're going along Martin Road to Desert Road, you're going to look at a lot of this intensity going through your area, probably happening right now, to be completely honest. So I'm going to zoom back out. We're going to go to the whole DMA. And that's why we're on the air. That's why we will continue to stay on the air, just to show you that line it's very potent. You get those winds gusting up to 70, 72 miles per hour. That's what we have going on right now. Now I want to go into Lincoln County. They do have a severe thunderstorm warning at this moment. You can see how it kind of crests around all of Lincoln County, actually goes into Moore County as well. So as we continue to track out that particular storm, or that line of storms going through Franklin County, you have Fayetteville 1054, Harms at 1048, Mulberry 1102, Flintville 1107, and Huntland at 1118. Excuse me, and it looks like that will go until 11:30 p.m. For this evening. So the current time is 10:43. You have 45 minutes left on that particular warning going throughout Lincoln and also Moore County. So just to give another update for Hartselle, power outages east of Hartselle from US 31 to I-65. So the latest update coming from Hartselle's own police department, power outages east of Hartselle from US 31 to I-65. And that's all accompanying that line of wind going almost 75 miles per hour. We've had two reports, one of 70 miles per hour, Huntsville International Airport, 72 miles per hour for Decatur's Airport. So there's that line going throughout Lincoln County right now. So Fayetteville, you have about 10 minutes left before you go from nothing outside to a whole lot of wind and a whole lot of rain. So that's that particular line. We're going to continue to go out and check out a couple more of this really going along this line. So we're going to continue to move south. Ardmore, you're dealing with that heavy rain right now. Same goes for folks right along County Line and Highway 72. Right along in there, you're dealing with a lot of that wind. So if you're along County Line right now, that's where you're dealing with all that initial part of that line of storm. So some very gusty winds. I shouldn't say gusty winds. I should just say, just straight line damaging winds at this point with the reports that we've been seeing so far. Going into Morgan County, Hartselle, you're dealing with a lot of that activity as well. We've already had the report from Hartselle's Police Department, power outage again east of Hartselle from US 31 to I-65. So right in here is where they're dealing with all those power outages around the Hartselle areas. But they're just one of many areas dealing with power outages right now. And so far, Dan and Dimitri, that's really been some of the biggest impacts that we've seen so far between down limbs, down trees, power outages. That's really been kind of the theme with everything. But it's going to be very interesting to see what happens when people wake up in the morning, when they're actually able to go out and see it in daylight, what type of damage they actually had, especially with those winds going up to 70 miles per hour. And you guys have anything to add?
Yeah, I did get a report from Morgan County EMA is reporting power outages and trees down in Decatur on 12th Avenue North Street. Also, some trees down in Danville Road North, that's on Highway 67, and power outages in Decatur along 16th Avenue and Penny Lane Southeast. Did you see anything?
I haven't yet. I mean, other than Chris had already reiterated a lot of this, but it's just interesting how much damage can be done by these squall lines that move through like this. Right. I mean, we're talking 72-mile-an-hour winds. That's a minimal hurricane, folks. That's a Cat 1 hurricane. And that is going to do a lot of damage to trees, power lines, fencing, things like that. Small buildings, you have outbuildings around your house, you have a lanai perhaps, a porch, you can even blow off part of a roof if it catches it at just the right angle. This is a severe weather situation, and you should be paying close attention. As you get out of it, folks in the shoals, they're out of the woods as far as damaging winds, but there's a lot more coming behind us in terms of cold air, and you're going to notice that over the next 24 hours too.
Yes, you will. Well, let's send it back over to Chris.
Thank you very much, Dan and Demetria. So before we go back with Severe Storm Tracker Radar, can we check out the weather cam again in Madison? Because, they probably just got a good lightning strike at with that type of distance. So this is a live look. We just noticed it. Actually, there is no power there. I don't know if you guys remember looking at this picture. There's no power anywhere. There's a giant lightning strike. There is no power anywhere along this view. So that you're looking at Madison Boulevard. So this is Madison Boulevard where you see the Walmart, the Wendy's, the Burger King there, BB&T Bank, right where you get to Wall Triana. That's kind of the view you're looking at. So again, there is no power anywhere. So we could probably just add that to the list of power outages along Madison Boulevard, Wall Triana, maybe even Sullivan to downtown Madison. You're probably dealing with a lot of power outages. So if you're doing that, you're not watching us on TV, but before you get to that point, it's a great idea to download our Severe Storm Tracker weather app. As long as you got cell phone, you got any type of service, you can still stream us live and get the critical information you need to know. So again, that's why we tell you to have multiple forms of getting weather information. So this is a live look outside. There is no power right now along Madison Boulevard in Madison, probably other locations as well. Reason being, you got a large area of wind just piling through right now. So again, you go into Huntsville right now, and what I want to do, I'm going to continue to go in a little bit more, just because this is the area of all these reports. So if somebody can get a hold of Charlisa, just tell her go inside, because one of our reporters is in downtown Huntsville right now. So if somebody can just text her, let her know, go inside, wait for this line to go through, especially with those winds going to 70, 72 miles per hour. So far, we've had a lot of information of getting some of that, some power outages, especially along Madison Boulevard, 565. And I want to continue to pan this camera a little bit further south. So again, you have a lot of this activity zooming into 72 to 565, even going a little bit further south towards New Haven, the airport in there. We've had other reports of more power outages around the Hartselle area between US Highway 31 and I-65. Dana Demetria?
All right, thanks very much, Chris. We have Brecken Terry back on the line with us from the Shoals. She was in Lauderdale County earlier.
Yeah, so let's check in with Brecken now. Brecken, where are you? Are you still in that same area that you were in before?
Well, actually, I was on my way out to Sheffield, and I turned around. I talked myself and got over here into Florence, where we have a lot of trees down on Hermitage and Sweetwater Avenues. Florence Police told me that they're out there right now. I kind of trying to traffic away from the street department so they can clear off the roadways right now. So that is where I'm heading. Then I'm going to go out to Sheffield, where we had a tree through a home over on Spring Court. So still got lots of trees down in the area. But again, Florence Street Department as well as Florence Police are out there on Sweetwater Avenue and Hermitage Drive trying to clear away some of the trees that are blocking those roadways. Guys?
That is going to be a big story for the next day or so, clearing the roadways of these trees, because that, you know, and Brecken did a great job earlier tonight talking about how saturated the ground is, especially over the Shoals area, where they've had 18 inches of rain since the 1st of January. That's like 30% more than they usually get this time of year. And that tends to weaken some of the root systems of these trees. And now, of course, with spring here, they're putting out a fresh flush of leaves, and they're top heavy. And a big gust of wind like that, 60, 70 miles an hour, easily can topple these trees. And we've seen a lot of that so far in the northwest part of the state in our viewing area.
Yes, we have. And I do want to go ahead and get this, because just information just came in. We do have some power outages that are reported out here in Huntsville. I know we saw it on the camera that Chris was showing, but right now I'm on the Huntsville Utilities power outage map, and there's just one part of like the Madison area where it's like 1,300 homes that are without power. Another area around 300 homes that's right around 565, sort of near where we do have one of our weather cameras located. The other one, I'm trying to zoom in a little bit more where that's 1,300 homes. It looks like it's at the intersection where Balch Road and Browns Ferry Road is right in that area too. So we are going to continue to monitor that. I know crews are out. Actually, we have it pulled up right there. That's what I'm looking at right now. That big red dot that you see, again, that represents around 1,300 or more homes in the area without power. That's around the Balch Road and Browns Ferry area. We know that crews, anytime something like this happens, they get out there right away to make sure they can restore.
They've already been on standby, we were told this afternoon, waiting for this to happen. They knew this was going to happen. This was a well-telegraphed severe storm event. Our meteorologists, Stephen Bowers and Chris Smith, and Kate McKenna, they've all been talking about this for the last several days, since late last week. They knew this was coming, so it's a good thing that everybody was prepared for this. Looking at some of these wind gust reports, Huntsville International Airport, 70 miles an hour. Pryor Field, just a little bit to the west of that, 72 mile an hour wind gusts. Incredible. And a 60 mile an hour wind gust as well in, what was that, in Colbert County earlier in that severe weather event.
All right, thank you very much. So when I talked about wind velocity a little bit earlier, that's really an indication of the type of wind that we're seeing here. It's judged going to and from away from the radar, but what I want you to notice, the bright greens and the blues that you're seeing here, those are winds going through over 70 miles per hour. And we've already had some instances of that wind energy making it to the surface. Again, with what just Stan mentioned, we've already had 2 reports of winds over 70 miles per hour between Huntsville International Airport and then at Pryor Field in Decatur. So that's what we're looking at with that wind. What you have right now, you have thunderstorm warning, and our power just flicked on and off for a little bit. So we still have that activity going on right now. So we're going to go back and we're going to check this out a little bit more. So we can hear that roar outside from the wind. I don't know if you can hear that. Power's also going on and off as well. So we're going to zoom in a little bit more. So what we're dealing with right now, this is why I told our reporter Charlisa, who was in downtown Huntsville, did we get a hold of her and tell her that we were inside there to go inside? We did? Good. Okay, so I don't know if we're on air or not, so I'm just going to keep going. Can we go? Keep going? All right, so can we bring up the weather cam that shows Huntsville? Okay, so can we bring up the weather cam that shows Huntsville? Okay, so we're kind of going in and out here, folks. We can hear the roar at the station, so that's what we have going on right now. So that roar is coming through. It's getting louder and louder. This is the line of storms that I've been talking about. This is the wind energy coming through. This is also how you can see it in the distance, the raindrops, the trees. Kind of harder to see that there's a big tree right there. It is just flying like crazy. So again, this is why you got to stay inside. Stay away from windows. Are we on air or off air? We're still good? Okay. So stay away from windows. Get inside, innermost room, go to a closet, bathroom, what have you. Just try to stay away from the windows as much as you can because the wind, can you guys hear that wind? It is hauling outside. So let's go back to Severe Storm Tracker radar and take a look at this. So it doesn't look like much on the radar, but I promise you, I'm hearing it right now at the station. This is what we're dealing with right now. So if you're anywhere around Huntsville at all, if you're going into Jones Valley, you're probably next up on the list for seeing all that heavy wind, the heavy rain. And again, I've been saying it for what, a couple hours now? You're going to hear the wind. You're going to hear it. You're going to hear it. I told you time and time again, it's just how much of that wind are you going to get? We've already had other reports of winds gusting well over 70 miles per hour. It would not surprise me if that wind outside is not going 70 miles per hour right about now. And it sounds just like November of 2016 when we had a tornado touchdown here about 700 meters away. That ended up being an EF2. We don't have a tornado warning. This is just straight lined wind. That's all we're talking about right now. We're not talking about any type of rotation at this point, but that wind is howling outside right now. So I at least wanted to give people the understanding with kind of what to expect on that front. So we're going to zoom back out and look at the whole picture here. So if you're west of 65, you got the wind, you got some rain, but your severe weather threat is done if you're west of I-65. East of I-65, if you're from Harvest, Huntsville, Lacey Springs to just east of Hartselle, east, including Jackson County, DeKalb County, and Marshall County, you're under the risk for severe weather until that line crests your hometown. So plenty of activity right now at this moment. We still have a lot of those severe thunderstorm warnings still into place. And let me just kind of get my bearings here yet again. So what we have at this moment is that line of showers and storms, a lot of those severe storms at this moment. And just trying to check out some of this other damage reports coming in here. Let's see. We had a storm report in 2 miles northeast of Decatur. Several reports of trees down in and around Decatur. There was a tree on a house near 8th Avenue Southeast. So that's kind of the latest data coming in here right now. So we're going to continue to zoom in here, and I want to track out this activity. So you get the line of wind and rain. If you're in Gurley, you're going to be up next, just to give people a heads up if you can hear us at home or not. Hazel Green coming right at you. So that's along 231. And you get to New Market 1108. That's, again, a little bit more towards east of Hazel Green. Woodville 1115, Princeton 1122, Pleasant Groves 1125. That's finally going into Jackson County. So again, when you look at all this activity, you got to keep a couple of things in mind. The first of which is the expiration times for these severe thunderstorm warnings. So the first one on the list, Madison and Morgan County, that's until 11:15. It's 10:57 now. Still have about 20 minutes left on that one. But actually, Limestone County, you are taking out of that severe thunderstorm warning. So Limestone County, you are no longer inside of that severe thunderstorm warning. Your severe weather threat is done. You're still dealing with the wind, the rain, but the severe weather threat, again, is done for you. So, again, you don't have to worry about too much. You may have to worry about some damage outside of your home in the morning when it's daylight, but at least you can breathe the sigh of relief. You're not dealing with 70-mile-an-hour winds anymore. So, Madison County still dealing with a lot of this activity. We're going to zoom in a little. Actually, we're going to track this. I'm going to track this line out again. So, going all the way through to Hazel Green, all the way through. So, again, you have the line cresting over Sand Mountain, and I'm going to bet dollars to donuts here that they're just going to continue that severe thunderstorm warning throughout the rest of the Tennessee Valley. So when you look at Newmarket in here, that's 11:07, Woodville 11:13, Princeton 11:19, Scottsboro 11:31, Sylvania at 11:48. That's really going down the line here, folks. But I just want people to understand, if you are anywhere down the line from this line of storms, you're probably going to see winds gusting 50, 60, maybe even 70 miles per hour. That's what we have here, and that's why we have been here on air and online throughout the duration of this event. Once the severe thunderstorm warnings began in the shoals, we were on the air. We will continue to be on the air until these storms honestly exit the Tennessee Valley, because we're going to have severe thunderstorm warnings all the way through. Again, I'm going to bet dollars to donuts on that one. But when you look at severe storm tracker radar, we still have the ability to see a lot of this activity. We're going to go back a little bit here and kind of start over. So we're going to look at this activity going in a little bit towards Morgan County, going into Marshall County. We're going to go a little bit further south now. Downtown Huntsville, you're already dealing with a lot of this wind and rain at the moment. Again, we're going to go a little bit further south, and we're going to take care of going into Marshall County, Joppa, and even Boaz and Arab, although Arab's going to be kind of first up on the list here when I continue to track this out. So Joppa going through. There you go. Arab coming in here 11:03. So you have a handful of, really a handful of seconds before that line really impacts your location. And you're going to hear the wind, you're going to hear the rain. So get inside, stay away from windows, because you get wind 70 miles per hour. Honestly, you don't know what that wind's going to be blowing around outside. If it's a limb of a tree, trash can, that could easily take it into somebody's house through a window. It's got plenty of energy enough to do that with a line like this. But you have Grant 11:12, Boaz 11:16, Gunnersville 11:16, Albertville at 11:28. So now we can hear the heavy rain outside, so it's certainly coming down out there. We can still hear the roar of the wind. So again, it's just really impressive, if you will, to hear the roar of the wind that long after the big rush of that. But Dan Demetria, back to you.
All right, yeah, thanks, Chris. It's kind of unnerving.
It really is. I mean, you see it on there, and you've heard him talk about it all night, but until it comes right over you, it's another thing, and you can still hear it.
Someone else who is right in the middle of it right now is our WAAY 31 reporter, Charlisa Gordon. She is in downtown Huntsville right now, and the worst of the wind is passing over her right now. Charlisa joins us on the phone.
I can tell you that we were also caught in it. We were packing up our gear and getting ready to move locations, and that's when the winds just started to whip through our area. Then next thing you know, it's raining. There's like a roar of the wind and the thunder, and definitely some lightning. We saw some trees starting to break and branches fall off and things like that. So it was a interesting, intense times with me and Jesse driving around Huntsville and downtown Huntsville, trying to find somewhere to shelter in place. But we did, and I could say that right now we're seeing the worst of it, but we're both safe. And right now I hope everyone at home is safe as well, too. And that's about it, guys. We're trying to stay safe out here, trying to stay dry because we're getting a lot of rain. And the wind is, like Chris said, very strong, very quick, very southern. sudden, excuse me, and it really hits you before you can even, like we did, pack up our gear and go. But that's all we have out here. Everyone stay safe at home.
All right. Thanks very much,
Thank you.
Charlisa. That's
Thank you.
great advice. Stay
It
indoors
is.
till this passes because it does hit you hard when it comes through.
It does, and unfortunately, that strong wind has been knocking out power in a lot of areas. Utility companies are now warning people not to call 911. They are going to try to restore power as quickly as they can, but they also have to be safe when they do it as well.
Exactly, and leave the 911 lines open for the true emergencies because there may be some injuries with some of these trees down and accidents and things like that. WAAY 31 Brecken Terry joins us live from the scene in Lauderdale County. Brecken, what are you seeing right now?
Well, guys, I'm here in Florence. I'm on Branch Street and North Patton Street. And look here just behind me. That is a Florence police officer. We've got a tree down as well as a couple of downed power lines. Now, when I went over there and spoke with that officer earlier, I actually saw a couple of people driving over that power line, and he had to tell them, hey, don't do that. So police are out here for a reason. So if you're driving here in downtown Florence on North Patton Street or Branch Street, please, if you see an officer, do not go that way. Now, when I get on the other side, Sweetwater Avenue, they've got a lot of trees down in that area as well. But again, the power is on here. I don't know if that downed power line right there that the police officer is around is live right now or not. I doubt it is. I'm pretty sure they've cut it off, but still, they do not want people traveling up and down these roads when they've got debris as well as downed power lines. Back to you guys.
Brecken, you make an important point. You don't know if a power line is charged or not after it falls. You don't know how long it's been there. You don't know if the power company has had a chance to turn it off or if it's gone out itself. So best advice is to just stay away.
Stay off those roads. Now we're going to send things back over to Chris.
And thank you very much. We do got some latest information coming in here. We have a brand new severe thunderstorm warning in effect now for Jackson County, DeKalb County, and also the rest of Marshall County. So we're gonna go check out Jackson counties first. So again, this is what the new warning is. So when you look at Albertville and Scottsboro, you have that severe thunderstorm warning for Jackson, DeKalb counties, Marshall County as well, kind of filling in the rest of the gap there. That's until 11:45 p.m. for tonight. You still have in effect until 11:15 the rest of Madison County going into northwestern Marshall County. That's until 11:15, and then the new warning takes over. That's again going to go until 11:45. So when you look at this line in general, we're still looking at the potency of the wind. We can still hear it up here on the mountain. Doesn't matter where you're at, you're going to deal with this wind in some way, shape, or form. The good news is we really haven't seen anything in terms of tornado warnings and with any rotations. This looks like it is now just a straight line wind damage event. I haven't seen any other rotations embedded within this line at all. So that's good news in terms of a tornado. Bad news is you still get winds up to 70, 72 miles per hour. That's still going to do a lot of damage anyway. Tornado or not, you get winds over 70 miles per hour, almost like a Category 1 hurricane. That's going to produce some damage in, again, some way, shape, or form. So what we're going to do now, we're going to track out all this activity for you, going all the way just around Joppa. We're going to curl around this very big area of showers and storms. So again, we're going to track that out again. There we go. So we're going to take that all the way to Scottsboro, Henniger, and Fort Payne. So you have Woodville, 1109, Gunnersville, 1117, Scott, Rainsville, 1143. And just heard some crack of lightning outside and thunder. You still good? Okay, so Fort Payne, 1154. Rainsville, again, 1143. That's for that particular section of the line that's going throughout Jackson County, DeKalb County, and also parts of Jackson County and also DeKalb County as well. So as we continue to move along with this line, we're going to zoom in a little bit more and really check out some of the finer details within this line. So we're going to go a little bit further north. We're going to look at the essentially three corners of Jackson County, Marshall County, and Madison County. Here comes that line moving through. We're going to go up to Gurley a little bit, show you that line along Highway 72. I got a couple of weather watchers in Gurley. It'd be really interesting to see what they're seeing right now. So my weather watchers, I hope you're being safe tonight. I know you guys always are. Again, if you're able to take a couple of pictures, let me know what's happening in your hometowns. I'd be greatly appreciated. Again, weather watchers out there, again, do it in a safe manner. So you got Gurley to Garth going into Jackson County, going a little bit too much further to the north. So we're kind of checking out a quick part of Holly Tree there. we're going to reset the map, let people know what we're looking at here. You have the line of storms racing across the Tennessee Valley, going just to the east of Fayetteville, Huntsville, now about to impact ARAB within the next couple of minutes. You still got winds behind it. You still got heavy rain behind it, but at least the severe weather threat has finally come to a close for folks west of I-65. And just getting a couple more updates here. Just north of Big Bob Gibson's Barbecue, there was some structural damage to Bob Gibson's, there we go, Barbecue, reporting structural damage on Highway 31 in Decatur. That was kind of the same area that I got done talking about, with some winds gusting to 72 miles per hour. Let's see, we're still looking at impressive velocities as well. So you look at this line, it's still a potent line. Now it's going over higher elevated areas, so it's a little bit easier for some of these faster winds to penetrate to the surface. So a lot of heavy rain at this moment. We're going to continue to go in here. Oh, darn it. So again, you still have that activity moving through. So we're going to reset and try this all over again here, folks. So again, what we have here in place to the Huntsville area, another big crack of lightning out there and thunder. So Woodville, Grant, Marshall County, Jackson County, Madison County, Morgan County. Still have a lot of this activity moving through. And what we're going to be left with is all that wind coming through the area. And that's not good. We're still looking at winds potentially going up to about 70 miles per hour. Tracking this all the way out past Scottsboro. So you have Woodville, 1109, Princeton, 1117, Scottsboro, 1125, Hollywood, 1143, Powell, 1140. This is going to continue to move through. And again, I've said this before, I'll say it again. You're going to hear the wind, you're going to hear the rain. It's just how much wind are you going to get. So far, we've had other amounts to where we've seen them anywhere 70 mile per hour wind gusts in Huntsville International Airport, 74 mile per hour wind gusts at Pryor Field in Decatur. This, my friends, is the line going over 1 hour. That's it. This line is hauling anywhere, probably at this point now, 50 to 55 miles per hour now that the wind engine is really cranked up. But this is all part of the line moving through. There's the leading edge going past Nashville, well, now well past Nashville, going into the Tennessee Valley. The only bonus I can tell you, it looks like the line is beginning to break up a little bit. Not a lot, but enough to where I'm beginning to notice it. When you look at Madison County, the last couple of frames, you had that completely coalesced line together, finally starting to break up when you look at areas in northern Madison County. So that's what we're looking at right now. We're going to go through, check out the tornado, I keep saying tornado watch, severe thunderstorm watch for Lawrence County. That is now taken out of the mix. I can also say, if you're in Limestone County or Morgan County, you don't have to worry about a severe thunderstorm watch anymore. You're done. If you're Morgan County, Limestone County to the west, red wasp. So you're into the clear. So Limestone County and also for Morgan County as well, you are in the clear. So you don't have to worry about any type of severe thunderstorm watch or severe weather, I may add, especially if you're west of I-65. So that's kind of taking into account. Storm timing actually not all that bad. 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. For Huntsville, Fayetteville, and then finally cresting to about 1 a.m. when you look towards the rest of Sand Mountain. So again, folks, we're still tracking everything for you in a big way. We're going to continue to go back all the way to the beginning, and we're going to continue to track out a lot of these showers and storms for you. So no more red wasp. So now that we have all the showers and storms impacting the area, we still are looking at eastern Madison County, just about outside of Morgan County now, pushing into Marshall County. So I'm going to go into Marshall County right now and track out a lot of this activity. So as you look towards ARAB and Gunnersville, if we're able to, can we bring up the other camera real quick? Because this is our view in Gunnersville. Now, it's also looking over Lake Gunnersville, but it's also looking, unfortunately, it's looking to the east. It's looking out over the water. So we're going to see all that activity continue to go above and beyond our view here. But I at least wanted to show you that this is the activity that we're watching out very closely. We're also looking at all that wind passing over Lake Gunnersville probably in the next couple of minutes. So when we take a look at Severe Storm Tracker radar again, I'm going to track out all that activity again just a couple of moments away from dealing with all that heavy wind and rain around Marshall County. So tracking this, going just to the east of Grant, going through Langston. You have Rayburn, 1116 Gunnersville. Within the next couple of seconds, you're dealing with it already in Gunnersville. So just stay inside, folks. I know most of you are probably staying inside, using common sense here. People got work, you got school tomorrow morning. You're really not just kind of, gallivanting about outside. So you have Meltonsville, 1119, Kirbytown, 1121, Little New York, 1121 as well. That's also going throughout northeastern Marshall County. So the reason why I say stay inside, stay away from windows as well. You get winds kicking up 70, 72 miles per hour, 74 miles per hour. It's not that the wind is blowing a ton, it's what it can move around. Trees, limbs, trash cans, anything in your yard becomes a projectile at winds going into the low 70s. So albeit tornadoes are bad, winds 70 miles per hour, still just as bad. It can still produce a lot of damage. It'll be interesting to see what the full effects are from all this damage tomorrow morning when you get to go out in the sunshine and see if anything wrong is with your roof, which I would highly recommend. Go check out your roof tomorrow. See if any shingles were moved around, if there's any damage, if you have any trees on your rooftop. That's something that you want to check out as well. So again, you have that line continuing to move through, going throughout Marshall County, going along 431, eventually dipping into Gunnersville. You have all that activity right now at this moment, still dealing with all that heavy rain, but it's already going throughout ARAB at this moment. So we're going to clear that out, and we're going to continue to follow this line going a little bit further to the north. So going past Grant, going into Jackson County, into DeKalb County, also just to the east of going outside of Madison County. Gurley's kind of the last town before you hit the county line there. But Princeton Skyline, a little bit further north, you're going just past Newmarket. High Top, you're a little bit further down the line, but Princeton, you're going to be up next on the mix as well. So a lot of showers, a lot of storms still impacting the Tennessee Valley, still moving east at roughly 50 miles per hour. Dan, Demetria?
Thanks, Chris. We're getting more reports of some storm damage. We had a report from one of our viewers who said that there was some severe damage at the Decatur Boat Harbor. Apparently metal canopies from the boats that have been blown everywhere. And our assignment manager said this is most likely the Riverwalk Marina off Highway 20. So major damage reported there. We'll get some pictures of that as soon as we can.
But we do have some pictures right now from Hunter's Ridge apartment. That's on Gulf Road. Now, it's a little difficult to kind of make out what's going on. A Twitter user, J-222, he sent that in. He said basically it's a tree that split a whole apartment complex in half. He said right now a lot of the residents there, in fact, he said all of the residents there are outside waiting for police to come. Just hope that they are safe during this. And we are continuing to following and monitoring the system, see if we see anything else going on, any other reports. But that's the main one.
You can see the root ball right there, and then the tree trunk into the building. Incredible. And there are several reports of this happening. We have a report of a tree down on a house in the area of 8th Avenue Southeast in Decatur. We also have reports of those wind gusts up to 70 and 72 miles per hour at the nearby airports, Huntsville International Airport and Pryor Field over in Decatur. A tree down on a vehicle reported near Alabama 157 at 33. That's in Lawrence County. Just a lot of damage we're going to be seeing here as the sun comes up. As Chris has mentioned, people are going to start assessing some of that damage. A lot of tree damage and whatever those trees fell on, whether it's power lines or cars or, God forbid, houses, we're going to be seeing more of that damage over the next 24 hours.
And before we go back to Chris, I do want to just show the power outage map right now because it is just very colorful, showing a lot of power outages out in the area. As we had mentioned before, utilities companies said that they are aware a lot of those outages are happening right now. They ask that you please not call them. Please not call the 911 lines unless it's an actual emergency, not just to let them know that the power is out.
Major power outages in and around the city of Madison. Also, crews from the Decatur Utilities Electric Department currently responding to several outages throughout the town because of this strong line of storms that move through. Several hundred customers affected right now, we're told, in northwest Decatur along 8th Street Southwest and in others as well. Getting updated information, and we'll be passing that along to you as soon as we can.
All right, well, let's go and check in with WAAY 31's meteorologist, Chris Smith.
So I wanted to add on to the power outages that you guys just got done talking about. the city of Arab. Power is reported out in the city of Arab extending to the Warranted Road area. So this is just a continuation of all the wind damage that we're seeing from this. And wind damage just doesn't have to be trees down, other things down. It's also power outages. That's all the impacts that's rolled into one with this line of storms coming through the area. So again, you're looking at northern Jackson County right now, and I want to reset and show everyone their bearings yet again. For those of you who are maybe just joining us right now, we've been on the air for probably about 2 hours at this point, maybe a little bit over 2 hours. If you are anywhere west of this line, if you're in Madison County, if you're in Morgan County, or even Lincoln County, points west, you're no longer dealing with severe weather anymore, but you're still going to deal with the rain, breezy winds. It's still going to sound bad outside, but you're not going to see winds gusting to 70 miles per hour anymore, or more trees or limbs coming down. So that's at least some of the good news. However, if you're in Marshall County, Jackson County, hasn't even touched DeKalb County yet, this is what we have really left to work with as this line continues to move across the Tennessee Valley. So what we're going to do now, we're going to zoom in and we're going to track out this line of showers and storms. And we're going to go right along Jackson, Marshall County line, just outside of DeKalb County. And I want to track out this line of showers and storms for you. So we're going to go from Highway 431 past 72 up towards Princeton. We're going to do this all over again. So we're going to go from Highway 431 past 72 to Princeton, and we're going to go essentially due east, going all the way to I-59. Scottsboro, the time impact for you, 11:25. Hollywood, 11:30. Rainsville, 11:43. Henniger, 11:47. And Fort Payne, 5 minutes before midnight, so 11:55 p.m. So we've said this before. We've been saying it the last couple of days. Chief Meteorologist Stephen Bowers, Meteorologist Kate McKenna, myself. This line would be out of here by probably 1 a.m. due to just how fast this line is coming through. And if you don't believe me, we're going to take a look at the lapse over the last 1 hour. 1 hour. So that line is going from I-65 all the way to Scottsboro. That's hauling. That's very fast for a line. Usually you have lines of storms that take roughly 6.5 hours to go across the Tennessee Valley. But because of the winds going this fast, it is really helping to usher that line through even faster. So again, you have the line of storms moving through, still looking at constant heavy rain throughout Madison County, Morgan County, Limestone County. But this is the line, this is the problematic line going through the area. So we're going to zoom in and we're going to really dissect this line, show you which areas are going to be dealing with maybe some of the stronger winds before everything is all said and done. So we're going to go into Jackson County first. So we're going to take a look at some of these wind speeds. So again, when you look at this activity, you have to keep in mind these winds have already had a history of gusting over 70 miles per hour. Some cases 30, 40 miles per hour. But we've already also had other reports of going over 70 miles per hour. So what I'm about to show you is the velocity or the wind speeds going to or away from a radar site. The radar site that we're using right now is high top. You look at all embedded with all this line, you see those bright greens popping out. Those are the winds that really have been the damaging winds, and there's the line of the wind. The line of the wind is just outside of Skyline right now. So if you're in Skyline or around the area, you're going to be dealing with those very fast wind speeds in just a couple of moments. And same goes for Pleasant Grove, right along Highway 79. That's where that line of wind is starting to crest over and continuing a little bit further to the east. So again, very, very impressive to see this activity move through. So again, Skyline, the Scottsboro, you have that line of wind going right along Highway 79. That's going to continue to take shape and continue to move throughout the next maybe 5 to 10 minutes as that line moves through, and I'm actually going to track it for you. So as this line has probably reached about 55 miles per hour in winds in storm speed, very impressive. So Scottsboro 1126, High Top 1131, Hollywood 1133, Pisgah 1141, and Yucca at 1146. So that line's going to move through very, very fast. And I really and truly think that this line's going to be out of the Tennessee Valley by the time we get to 12:30 tonight. And that's giving us an hour and a half. To be completely honest, it may actually be happening faster than that. It may be happening by midnight tonight. but I at least want you to understand that we have tracked these storms literally from the moment they made it inside of the Tennessee Valley all the way until the exit of the Tennessee Valley. We're going to continue to be on air here for you all the way through. So Severe Storm Tracker Radar current time is 11:22 p.m. on this Tuesday night. And we're going to continue to zoom out a little bit more. Actually, we're not going to zoom out. We're going to go a little bit further south. We're going to go into southern Jackson County and take a look at DeKalb County. So going a little bit further to the south, there's the county line between the two. And Section, if you're in the Section area, and really Scottsboro, you're going to be dealing with that line of showers and storms within the next couple of minutes. But it's just going to show you that the line of showers and storms will continue to make their presence felt throughout the next, again, about next 50 minutes to maybe a little over an hour at this point. But when you look at Highway 35 to 79, right at that cross section there, that's where you're dealing with the kind of the strongest winds right now. And I'm actually going to show you those winds yet again. So there we go. So looking through a lot of those winds, going all the way through Highway 35, Highway 79, that's the line of wind going all throughout here. So again, as you go down to Highway 79, back to 72 to Scottsboro, all that, it's breezy ahead of the line. The winds increase when that line makes it into the Tennessee Valley. So again, that's kind of what we're looking at here, and that's how I continue to dissect the line of showers and storms that you're seeing here. So again, 11:23 p.m., still looking at a lot of this activity, but what I want to do next is go back to the home view and just show you the area. This is what we've dealt with. That line of showers and storms has been moving through for quite some time, and just showing you this is the last hour. That's it. It's gone from west of 65 to Scottsboro in 1 hour. That's hauling. And that line will continue to haul. Hopefully everything moves out of here by the time we get in the midnight tonight, that everyone can just kind of go home and understand that. But I'm going to throw it back over to Dan Demetria. It actually just, okay, we going to go over to him? Yeah. All right, we're going to go over to him.
All right, thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Chris. Well, we do want to check in with WAAY 31's Brecken Terry, because I believe that she's at the scene of where a tree was just knocked over.
Yeah, it fell right across the roadway. Brecken, what can you tell us?
Yeah, actually, I'm here on Sweetwater Avenue, and as you can see, the Florence Street Department, those crews just got here. They're working to get this huge tree out of the road. Florence police have had this area blocked off for quite some time. They just came through and were actually checking the tree for any power lines that could be possibly wrapped up in it. And guys, this isn't just one tree. This is actually multiple trees down in this area. There's at least one or two large trees right now, and you can see they're getting to work right now removing this huge tree. By some miracle, it did not fall on any home. I actually just talked with some neighbors. They told me that they were in the house watching TV when they just heard two huge booms, came outside and saw this tree across the roadway right there. Now, one of these street department crew members, he's got his chainsaw out. They've got the bulldozer here, so they are about to clean this part up and hopefully open this road back up pretty quickly. Now, I know earlier we were on North Patton Street as well as Branch Street. There was a tree and a power line down there as well. But guys, we've got tons of trees down, and this is just in the Florence area. Again, over in Sheffield, we've got at least one tree down through a home on Spring Circle. But guys, they are about to get to work and hopefully get this tree removed and get some of these roads opened back up. Live in Florence, Brecken Terry, WAAY 31 News.
Yeah, a lot of work to do, Brecken, over the next, it's going to be several days, if not a good week or two before all this is cleaned up. Incredible.
I do want to go back to some of the power outages. I'm trying to pull that up now. Huntsville Utilities did send us some information about the latest ones that they have just received. They said those power outages is currently in all across Madison County right now. The city of Madison, Harvest, Monrovia, Hazel Green, Meridianville, Newmarket, Gurley, West Huntsville, Northwest Huntsville, South Huntsville, Hampton Cove, Big Cove area right now. We talked about it in Decatur. There are areas that are out of power too.
That's true. Everything started, of course, on the west side, and when Alabama's about 160 miles across from Mississippi to Georgia, and these storms have raced through in less than 3 hours, just about. That's an indication of how fast they were moving. Good 50 to 60 miles an hour, just in their movement, not including the wind that's coming out of that thunderstorm. We had reports earlier that there was some wind damage at a marina in Decatur, and I believe we have Cody Fisher there. WAAY 31's Cody Fisher reporting live from that scene. Cody, what are you seeing?
Yeah, Dan, right now I'm at Riverwalk Marina, just over the bridge here in Decatur. It's hard to see here in the dark, but you can definitely, there is a lot of wind damage. So it actually looks like the wind has actually picked some of the sheet metal up off of kind of where some boats are being housed. And actually, when I was driving into the marina, in the turn lane itself into the marina, there was sheets of sheet metal just laying in the road. So again, if you're driving along Highway 72 out of Decatur, just beware of that situation as you pass the marina. But I'm just going to step out of the way and kind of take a look at what they're looking at. And actually, it appears as if the structure of the roof of the marina, if you will, has kind of fallen down on some boats, and you actually see some boat owners down there, or people presumably checking it out with flashlights to see if their boat is okay. I know law enforcement is also on scene, but it just kind of looks like the wind crumpled the structure a little bit down and over and just ripped the sheet metal off of the roof and blew it onto Highway 72. So that is exactly what those winds, as I experienced a little bit earlier, that's exactly what they did, just a couple of maybe 2 football fields away from where I was standing earlier this evening. And as talking about some power outages, I know that there are a little over, probably about 2,000 outages right now being reported by Joe Wheeler EMC, and there is power outages in Decatur. I just got off the phone with Decatur Utilities, and they're going to get back to me here in the next couple of minutes to let us know exactly how many outages there are and when they expect them to get back on. Reporting live in Decatur, Cody Fisher, WAAY 31 News.
Great report. Thank you, Cody.
All right, let's go back over to Chris. Chris.
Yeah, thank you very much. Unfortunately, bad stuff happens with weather. It just happens. We got to kind of take it as it rolls. Unfortunately for tonight, our biggest impact, and that's what we predicted all along, was the damaging winds. And we've already seen wind gusts in excess of 70 miles per hour at Huntsville International Airport, Pryor Field in Decatur, 70 and 72 mile per hour wind gusts respectively. And it looks like that we have new data coming in here right now. So I think what the National Weather Service is doing, they're just extending that warning to cover the entire part of Jackson and DeKalb County. So we're going to go into Jackson County first, and we're going to take a look at that, and that's kind of exactly what they're doing here. They're extending that line, which finally entails the rest of Jackson and DeKalb County. So that's going to last until 12:15. Keep in mind the warning before that throughout the western part of Jackson County and also Marshall County, that will expire at 11:45 for tonight. So when we continue to look at everything yet again, if you're anywhere between Madison County, Morgan County, Lincoln County, your severe weather threat is done. You don't have to worry about anything anymore. It's still going to sound pretty nasty outside, but you're not going to see, the textbook definition of severe weather. You're not going to see winds to 70 miles per hour, large hail, or anything like that. It's still going to be breezy, rainy, and a lot colder behind that initial line. But what's left is that line still moving through, breaking up a little bit, so that's some slightly good news throughout Marshall County, Jackson County, and also DeKalb County. And Lincoln County, just to boot, still has some heavy rain, but again, we're not dealing with all of that terrible activity that Sand Mountain is about to deal with, or actually has continued to deal with. So we're going to go in here first, and we're going to track out this line for you, let you know when you can expect all this nasty weather to pass by your area. We're going to start over on that one. So again, this activity continues to move through. And as we go throughout the rest of the Tennessee Valley, just timing it, moving even out of this mess, you have Collinsville, 11:34, Rainsville, 11:47, Fort Payne, 11:58, Valley Head going into Wednesday morning, 12:01, and then Menlo at 1:15. That's kind of going into Georgia as well, so keep that in mind. But Mentone, you're going to be there as well. You're going to be there around Valley Head a little bit around midnight tonight. So that's when I really expect a lot of this activity to move out of the way. We're still looking at everything trying to move out of here once we get into midnight tonight. In the meantime, I'm sorry, folks, we're still dealing with the threat for damaging winds, and this is just straight line winds. We've had countless reports, power outages, trees down, trees creating damage. One of the latest ones that I've actually seen was in Decatur. We had Cody Fisher there at the marina talking about some of the damage in here. And it looks like one of the latest reports that I'm getting in here is a tree down on a house on Bingham Street in Scottsboro. That's coming from one of the emergency managers in there. Report of trees down on a home on 8th Avenue, 8th Avenue Southwest. That was in Decatur. Again, we have more damage reports on that one, more trees down, more power lines down. This has just been kind of a mess all night long, and we have been with you every step of the way with coverage you can count on. Hopefully after a night like tonight, you continue to make us your primary source for news, weather, and sports, and that we're just trying to stay completely as true as possible to our slogan, with coverage you can count on. So with Severe Storm Tracker Radar, we're going to continue to track out this activity, but in this time I'm going to go up a little bit further north. So again, we're going to pan up a little bit further to the north, really kind of take note on what you can expect here throughout Jackson County. So when you go along Highway 52 going throughout Scottsboro, or going past Scottsboro, I should say, Scottsboro High School along there, you start going to Hollywood, which is just to the north and east of Scottsboro. You're going to be dealing with a lot of that rain and wind. So I'm going to stretch that out a little bit. So you have Pisgah 11:34, Stevenson 11:42, Long Island at 12 a.m., but Eider at 11:47. So this is the line moving through. So you have the line going from Pisgah to Eider in about a 10-minute span. So this line continues to haul and will probably continue to do some damage, especially with those higher elevated areas. It just makes it easier for the winds, the strength of the winds, to translate to the base of the storm and cause more damage. So that's why we're still on air all the way through here, folks, from start to finish. Promised you we would, and that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to follow through on my promise here. So we saw this activity, Pisgah, Stevenson, Eider, Long Island, all between 11:30 and midnight tonight. And that's what I'm really hoping for, that we can get away from all this severe weather, especially when we try to take a look at some of this activity. And actually what I want to do is take a look at some of the velocities again. So what we have right now is, this is the line of wind. This is what you're seeing right now. Going throughout just to the east of Scottsboro, that's the wind. That is the actual line of wind that's showing up here on the data. That's why we like to look at velocity. It's just judging inbound and outbound wind speeds from the radar right there. So again, going all the way through there, that's the line of wind. So when I move that out of the way, and you see that compared to the storms, when you look at the radar, it's kind of a mess. Can't really tell exactly where that wind is. That's where velocity comes into play. That's where you can see exactly where that line of wind is really starting to puncture some places in the Tennessee Valley. So that's why I wanted to show you the velocity on that aspect. So when you look at the track, now you get to keep in mind where that wind is. Going into the east, I don't mind some of the towns there in Georgia, but you have Stevenson 11:42, Henniger 11:44, Bridgeport 11:54. Then finally everything goes into Georgia. So what I'm being a little bit hopeful for is, over the next 25 minutes, everything just comes to a close between 12 and 12:15, a little bit closer to 12 o'clock for Jackson County, maybe a little bit longer for DeKalb County, since DeKalb County, you're not really dealing with a whole lot of activity at this point. You're really just starting to get into this activity. So that line, as it continues to move through, I actually want to track out that line to give people an idea of when you can expect those storms to move out of the way. So just going with DeKalb County here, you got Rainsville 11:41, Plainview 11:44, Pine Ridge at 11:51, Fort Payne 11:58, and then you go to Head River at 1:06. So this, on the other hand, this part of the storm may be lasting well past 12 a.m., especially when you look at the slanted nature of everything as it continues to move away from the Tennessee Valley. But keep in mind that severe thunderstorm warning will last until 11:45 p.m. for tonight. So again, a lot of activity that we've really dealt with. Keep in mind, if you're in Marshall County or Madison County, points east, you don't have to deal with severe weather anymore. As a matter of fact, you're just dealing with heavy rain, breezy winds, but you're not looking at the threat for severe weather anymore. That's kind of what you're seeing left here between Jackson County and also DeKalb County. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit more, give people some of their bearings, let them understand kind of where we're looking at this line moving through. So here's the line, Jackson into DeKalb County. So again, Marshall County, Madison County, points to the west. You're good for tonight. As a matter of fact, I want to check in with that tornado watch and see if there's been any updates with who's been taken out of the area, and rightfully so. Lincoln County, Madison County, Morgan County, west, you are no longer in the severe thunderstorm watch anymore. So again, if you want to go to bed, you're good to do so. You don't have to worry about severe weather anymore. Weather may still be a little loud where you live, but at least if you want to go to bed, you can sleep soundly and know you are not going to deal with severe weather anymore. So again, appreciate you watching in those communities, especially for the Shoals. Doing a little bit of a cleanup right now. But again, that severe thunderstorm watch still expected to go until 1 a.m., but as always, continue to chop away more and more counties as that line continues to move away from the area. So again, there's the line moving through. Here's the line as it stands right now. So again, when you take a look at the radar, you're still looking at that line of showers, line of storms moving to the east, moving throughout Jackson County and also DeKalb County. So again, take a look to see if there's any more damage reports, and there are. The emergency manager in Jackson County reports tree down on a house just east of Scottsboro. So again, we're just getting more and more reports of trees going on houses, messing with power lines. Remember, never drive up or near a power line. You don't know if it's lit or not, especially if it's active, and that's why you never want to drive near a power line. But Dan and Demetria?
Thanks, Chris.
Yes, and we want to go ahead and get to some of the photos because the photos are starting to come in now of some damage reports. Let's go ahead and show those. This is actually where WAAY 31's Cody Fisher was just located.
This is the Riverwalk Marina in Decatur. You can see some pretty significant damage there. It looks like to a shelter structure there that was once metal. It was sheet metal over the top of some of these boats, and it looks like it has been peeled off, and perhaps some of it has collapsed onto some of the boats. There's going to be a lot of damage out there once they get daylight to assess what's happened. Again, that's the Riverwalk Marina. There are other marinas around, of course, the Tennessee River Valley, and we will probably likely see more of that kind of damage as we move through tonight and into tomorrow.
And this is damage of, this is out in 8th Avenue in Decatur. You can see, it will kind of make out the tree that fell onto the home. This is the one that we've been telling you about for like the last hour and a half. Just getting a view of what it looks like now. Can't really make out what's going on in the picture, but like you said, Dan, as soon as daylight breaks, we're going to be able to see everything and be able to really assess that damage.
Yeah, and there is apparently going to be a lot of it because this was a long line of storms that moved through and really didn't lose much power from the time it entered the Tennessee Valley, from Mississippi all the way over to now it's approaching Georgia. So we have not seen it relax. The severe thunderstorm warnings have continued all along that line, and we've seen the damage from the trees down to the power lines down to some structure damage as well.
Yeah, it's like no part of the Tennessee Valley was left untouched.
Yeah, and thankfully no reports of any injuries as of yet.
And that's the blessing right there. So we're going to go back over to Chris. I believe you have some more information coming in.
Just kind of pouring through a lot of the reports, just like you guys are, of maybe the potential for more damage, looking for more power outages, and that seems to be kind of the biggest impact for tonight are the power outages. And remember, I've said this before, I'll say it again, just in case people forgot, short-term memory. Don't ever drive over or even near a down power line. You don't know if it's live. Very, very dangerous, and you just want to stay inside for a night like tonight. And the only area that we have left to really talk about for the probability of any severe weather at all, and even that seems to be fleeting, minute by minute with the way that this line continues to be behaving, if you will. A lot of that activity still producing some damage reports, but you really have to go to eastern Jackson and DeKalb County now, where this line continues to move through. And that's why I keep talking about velocity or really just kind of wind speeds. And a lot of this activity, mind you, is my way of really seeing what type of activity we do have embedded with a lot of these wind speeds. Because when you look at this, inside at home, you're probably kind of saying, big whoop, why are you showing it? Well, when I move it out of the way, you look at the radar, you're kind of looking at the edge of it. You're seeing yellows and greens and oranges in here. The reason why I want to show velocity when I draw this back is you get a really clear picture of exactly where that line of heavy and gusty wind is moving through. So right now that line of wind is moving right over top or right through Henniger at this moment, even going up along Highway 72, moving closer to Hollywood at this moment. So folks living around Hollywood, you're dealing with some of those very, very gusty winds, even going a little bit closer to Fort Payne. We'll zoom in here and get a better shot of this. So we're going to go in here a little bit more. So when you take a look at Fort Payne and really what you're looking at here with the velocity data, so that line of wind is just past, it's already went through Rainsville. So Rainsville, you're dealing with some of those very gusty winds right now. Going along Highway 35 and 75, looking at the crosshairs of that, going to Fort Payne along I-59 and also Highway 11. So Fort Payne, you don't have too much longer to deal with some of those heavier areas of wind. And actually, when I track that particular line out, going to Fort Payne in there, so yeah, Pine Ridge 1146, that line of wind is going to make it to Fort Payne at 1151. So really trying to narrow in on a lot of that activity. So you have the velocity data in there, you have the tracking data in there, so that wind speed is going to be making the way to Fort Payne just over the next couple of minutes. Dan and Demetria?
Thanks, Chris.
And we want to get to WAAY 31's Cody Fisher, who is live in Decatur. He is actually at the Riverwalk Marina.
Significant damage.
Yeah, Demetria, I'm live here at the Riverwalk Marina, and right now I'm actually on Dock B, and I'm going to step out of the way and turn up this light because somebody who lives here on the boats here on Dock B said that it came loose because of the winds and actually went over and hit Dock A. And let me just zoom in here with my camera and look at the damage that the winds from this storm did to Dock A. You see it completely kind of just blew the structure like it was nothing and ripped the sheet metal off of the top. And as I said earlier, that was the sheet metal that blew onto Highway 72. And we have seen law enforcement in the area, so they're clearing that sheet metal from Highway 72 right now. But just as you see, I mean, just the damaging nature of these winds that people have dealt with here at the Riverwalk Marina, damaging boats, and as you see the structure here. And I spoke to one man and he said that when it was happening, he didn't even really feel anything happen. He couldn't even tell that Dock B had come loose and hit Dock A until he came outside after it kind of blew through and that's when he started to see the damage. And I'm standing just in an area here. Hold on, this light is extremely bright. Just give me 1 second here. But that is what people are dealing with right now in Decatur here at the Riverwalk Marina. They're kind of assessing the damage, assessing the situation. We have not heard any stories of injuries just yet, but I will try and make my way around to Dock A. Somebody who is on Dock A or has a boat on Dock A said that it's actually kind of, you can't even get all the way down to this part of the dock because it's just flipped upside down. But I will make my way around there and make sure that everybody is okay here at the Riverwalk Marina. Reporting live in Decatur, Cody Fisher, WAAY 31 News.
Wow. All right. Thanks, Cody. Just incredible pictures there. The kind of stuff you see in a tornado or a hurricane damage, just incredible. And these are just thunderstorms that came through.
Exactly. And for that one person who actually lived on that boat to not even realize what was happening, I mean, that's just remarkable.
Meteorologist Chris Smith joins us again now with an update on the track of these storms.
Yeah, and I was talking back and forth with Chief Meteorologist Stephen Bowers, and he sent out a tweet talking about, you know, damaging wind can do damage just like a tornado. And we haven't had a tornado tonight, but we've certainly had tornado-like damage just because of the straight line wind, the power of the wind. And we're seeing a good example of that with all the downed trees and power lines and damage to a lot of homes. And again, there's going to be a lot of damage that you're not going to see until you go out tomorrow morning. And that's why I'm really urging people, you got a home, go out and check your roof. You could have a couple of shingles up. You just don't know until you go outside and look, because with winds like this tonight, honestly, anything is possible with the potential that could be with damage to your home. So that's why I just want you to be safe and really just kind of understand the problems that could exist even after all this stuff comes to a close. But as we continue to track out a lot of this activity, what I want to show you is really, when you look at this line, now moving right along I-59 just past Valley Head and almost outside of DeKalb County within the next, let's see, 11:47 now. I'd say about the next 20 minutes, and that line's completely through Jackson County. Fort Payne 11:47, Valley Head 11:49, Fisher Crossroads 11:51. At that point, it's really into Georgia. So again, what we're really seeing with all this activity, and what I want to do is I'm going to go a little bit further north, and I want to show Jackson County and show you exactly what's happening with the line kind of embedded in there. It's actually curled back a little bit more, so as I track out that particular line going right along the border of Jackson County into DeKalb County, you still have Bridgeport coming in here a little bit past there, 11:55. Higdon 11:59, Stewarttown 101, and then you're going into Georgia again by that point. But at least the times are being consistent. That once we get to around midnight, past midnight, shortly thereafter, the line of severe weather finally coming to a close here in the Tennessee Valley. And that's why when I keep checking out the home view, if you will, a lot of this activity, again, the severe thunderstorm warning expected to go, well, that's for Chattanooga, that's until 1:15. You have until 12:15 for Jackson and DeKalb County. So even if it makes it that long, we're going to wait and see. But again, over the last hour, this line continues to really speed on through, and this system has hauled. Notice the start time, 10 p.m. That line was well to the west, or actually right along I-65 at that point. So just within about an hour, that line has already moved from I-65 to just almost outside of the Tennessee Valley. So the speed of the wind, very impressive to help push along a lot of these showers and storms. And just to give you another update, severe thunderstorm watch, Madison County, Lincoln County, Morgan County, everyone to the west, no longer in that severe thunderstorm watch, but shortly thereafter, probably within the next couple of minutes, they're going to take out Marshall County as well. So that's still expected to go until 1 a.m., but honestly, the threat's going to be long gone before 1 a.m. in terms of the potential for any severe weather left over here in the Tennessee Valley. So again, the original timing for us, I mean, that's pretty good if you ask me. I mean, that line hauled through. So just within a couple of hours, it just spanned the entire Tennessee Valley. So the latest that we had was 1 a.m. We're kind of wedged right there in the middle, 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. I got to say, timing was pretty decent on that one. So again, when you look at this activity moving through, and actually, I think I just saw an update. So I'm going to go back to that severe thunderstorm watch and see if there was an update. I thought there was an update. I thought they got rid of all the counties left over. So again, just went back through the graphics too fast. But the radar, 11:50 p.m., just about making its way outside of the Tennessee Valley. And the good news is that the line looks pretty disorganized right now. Still, good punch of winds, but you'd have to go to Swanee to see anything more substantial. So Chattanooga, they're going to deal with that kind of a structure with the wind and the rain. But for us, I do want to go back into Jackson and DeKalb County, really kind of take a look at this line again and really stay with this line until it moves completely out of the valley, which it's going to do within the next 10 to 15 minutes. And one thing's for sure, I think there's going to be a lot of people glad to see this line move out of the area. Henniger, Fort Payne, you're still dealing with that. And we're going to travel up a little bit further to the north and really kind of take a look. Stevenson, 72, a little bit closer to Bridgeport at that point. Still talking about bouts of heavy rain behind the front. So even though the severe weather threat may be done for a lot of you, you still got heavy rain. You still got gusty winds, still breezy outside, and it's going to be a whole lot colder. So that's what we have to look forward to as we go into tomorrow, where conditions will be sunny, cooler, drier, but the highs tomorrow probably won't even hit 60. So that combined with the wind, yes, it'll still be breezy tomorrow with winds going to roughly 15 miles per hour. So at least it's not 70 miles per hour. So again, what I want to do for us is take a look at some of this activity. We're going to pan a little bit further to the north. So again, as we continue to backtrack a little bit, show you the line as it continues to exit the Tennessee Valley. I mean, we're just about done with this event, and that is excellent, excellent news. So along Highway 72, a little bit further to the south, going along Highway 117 past Eider. Eider, you're still dealing with a little bit more of that activity just to the northeast of Henniger. And continuing along Highway 11, really going along I-59 as well towards Mentone. You're up next on the list to see those showers and storms. So again, as that line continues to move through, we're still looking at the ability to see showers and storms here in the area. But alas, at least when that new radar updates, just to kind of fill in the rest of the data there. Looking at Fort Payne, dealing with a lot of that activity, going along south of Highway 35. Once you get to the DeKalb County line, you're going to see a lot of that activity continue to push through. So again, by the time we get to midnight tonight to 12:15 in the morning, a lot of this activity will finally wind down, come to a close, and then the rest of the Tennessee Valley can finally go to sleep. And that's why I keep going back to our main view here, just to show you, if you're in the Shoals, you're really not dealing with rain anymore. Still probably breezy at this point, but at least you're not dealing with the rain. You go to Limestone County, Madison County, the rain's still coming down here. We can hear it here at the station where the rain's coming down. Not really so much in buckets anymore, but it's still a steady rain. And you still hear probably hear the thunder at home, through my microphone at least. But then again, you go towards Jackson and DeKalb County. This is where you're looking at the rest of that line pushing out of the Tennessee Valley. So the threat just about over and done with. And when we take a look at some of that activity again, really trying to see that area not really come to a close, but at least finally beginning to wind down. And that's why when I take a look at Jackson and DeKalb counties again, we'll wedge right in here. We're going to track out this line, see if we can pick up some of those communities just around Valley Head. So again, not picking up all too much in here. We're going to zoom in a little bit more and really trying to get into the last area of DeKalb County dealing with this activity. So this is where you have Highway 117. You have County Road 89 just around Valley Head. So if you're anywhere between County Road 89 to 117 right along the state line going into Georgia, you're still going to deal with the very gusty winds. That rain, this is some heavy rain coming down in Valley Head right now. You're seeing those reds really pop up. That's some very heavy rain at this moment. So again, County Road 89, that's where you're looking at a lot of that activity. And that heavy rain will just continue to move throughout DeKalb County. And I do want to go back to Dan and Demetria, see if they have any more updates to maybe some power outages or if they've maybe learned of any more damage here in the Tennessee Valley.
Actually, we are hearing some reports of a tree down on a house and car and how emergency vehicles are having difficulty to get to it. I know it is here in Huntsville. We don't have the exact address of where it's located. We're continuing to have our crews who are in our newsroom monitor this so we can get this updated information for you as well. We did hear about a tree down on County Road 1 that's near Paint Rock in Jackson County. What have you learned, Dan?
And also the tree down, and I believe Chris mentioned this a little while ago, in Scottsboro. This is on Bingham Street. Lot of trees down. That's going to be the big takeaway from this storm, is how many trees have been damaged and toppled over by these strong 70-mile-an-hour winds all the way from the Shoals through the Huntsville area and out towards Sand Mountain. It's just been incredible. Yeah. It'll be numbering in the thousands easily when it's all said and done.
And we've been monitoring the social media accounts of the local EMA agencies as well as the National Weather Service, our own meteorologists here. And what I keep seeing from like utility crews, they keep warning people, hey, if you have to be on the roads and you see a down wire, just assume that it's live. Stay away from it. They're saying they having some reports of people who are not listening to that order. I mean, these warnings just keep coming out one after the other.
A lot of times more injuries happen after these storms than during them. A lot of folks get out maybe too soon before it's light and try to clean up some of the damage. And even if it is light, use some extra caution out there. If you're going to be using a ladder or a chainsaw, especially any kind of heavy equipment, just use some extra caution. Don't take chances. If you need help, wait for help to arrive before you try to cut up a big tree. It's better to stay safe.
Of course, that's always the best rule, right?
Meteorologist Chris Smith is back with us. This is almost over, Chris. We've been at this for about 3 hours now. Solid on the air. Great job reporting this and keeping the Tennessee Valley safe through this event. And it really has gone from border to border all the way across the Tennessee Valley.
And it really didn't take all that long for that to happen. And usually, if you lived here long enough, you understand storm systems, when they come through, they're going to take about 5 to 6 hours to go through the Tennessee Valley. But this one is doing it in about half of the time. And what I overlaid right now, these are all the storm reports just right now, just for the ones that even been reported. I'm going to step out of the way so you can see all the reports so far. And that is a steady line going right along the strongest part of the storm. The strongest part of the storm initially came into the Shoals. We had the tornado warning, which actually included Muscle Shoals, downtown Muscle Shoals. So you got a couple of reports in there. All the little tree damage ones that you're seeing in here, or power outages. And then you had a couple of those high wind gusts as well. So again, what I want to do, I want to take a look at some of these reports. And one of the more impressive ones, I should say, hopefully this one will pop up a little bit. So again, you had the thunderstorm wind gust. So this was at Huntsville International Airport. That wind clocked in at 70 miles per hour. That wind was flying through at that point. So again, very impressive to see that. You get a couple of more areas of damage in here. So thunderstorm wind damage at 11 p.m. and trees knocked down, damage, an apartment complex in South Huntsville near Gulf Road. So again, looking at that, you get some more damage. When you look at some of that around Muscle Shoals, again, some other areas that you're kind of taking note. Thunderstorm wind gust in Muscle Shoals. So at Muscle Shoals Airport, had a wind gust of 62 miles per hour. So just going to show you some of those wind speeds that we've seen so far. And I think I just said this one. There's a tree down on a house just east of Scottsboro. We actually verbally said that on air. Then this was actually another one near Hartselle not too long ago. I don't think that really caught that one, so let's check that one out again. Let's see if that one's going to update. I guess that one's not going to pop up here, so there we go. So that one was Hartselle. So that one was the wind gust at Morgan near Decatur actually. So it's at KDCU. So that's the prior field report had a wind gust of 72 miles per hour. Not only that, you had a couple of other reports as well, just kind of getting people acclimated and kind of understand what this event was for tonight. A lot of thunderstorm wind damage, trees down in a roadway along Lee Street near Rogersville. So that was in Lauderdale County. So this is what we dealt with for tonight, folks. Just a lot of wind that was coming through in a very, very fast manner. We still have the severe thunderstorm warnings kind of into play. We got one left. That's it. So you have Jackson, DeKalb County. That's going to last until 12:15. Once we get to that point, and it's probably going to be allowed to expire even quicker than that, just because when you look at the line, we're going to backtrack a little bit in here, and we're going to show you. There we go. So with this line moving through, and as we continue to watch a lot of this activity, not just exit, not just Giles County and Lawrence County and Lincoln County and what have you, but we're going to go all the way through, and we're going to go right to the Alabama and Georgia state line, where this activity has already punched through the rest of Jackson County, going into DeKalb County. A lot of that activity continues to move through as well. So just some heavy rain, and that's really it on all the reports that we're seeing here. So the severe weather threat is really done now for the Tennessee Valley. Now that that line has completely pushed through, the winds are going to continue to die down throughout Jackson and DeKalb County. And just to reiterate everything, the heavy wind, the rain, that's all going to clear out of here by Wednesday morning. The wind speeds will continue to taper off over the next hour or two. So they're still going to be pretty strong for Jackson and DeKalb County, but at least we're not looking at winds going 70 miles per hour anymore. But even behind it, the shoals are dry right now. And just to kind of look at everything yet again, this line moved through at an incredible pace. This is over the last hour. So that's going all the way from east of Huntsville all the way into Georgia. So this line really took a little over 3 hours to get through, when normally lines take about 6. So again, very impressive. The rest of that storm system continues to move through, and we're going to check in with the severe thunderstorm watch. Yeah, you can take all these down. The Storm Prediction Center is a little bit more delayed or lagging in taking down those particular watches. But again, not worried about any watches anymore. All the showers, all the storms, they're going to continue to move out of here next couple of hours. So again, I really do appreciate everyone staying with us throughout the coverage throughout all this evening. Dan and Demetria?
All right, and we are thanking you as well, Chris,
Yes,
for keeping us
exactly.
informed.
And thanks to all of our viewers who also chimed in and let us know about some damage reports that were going on. They sent in pictures. They called our newsroom just wanting to know the latest information on what was going on in our area.
And we've had several reporters out keeping you informed of the damage and showing you some of the pictures. And Charlisa Gordon is with us right now. She is in South Huntsville at an apartment complex, I believe, where a tree has fallen on some units there. Charlisa.
Dan and Demetria, yes, I'm at the Hunter's Ridge here in Huntsville, and right on this side, or actually right behind me, a big tree has fallen on top of this apartment complex. We spoke to one man who actually lives in the complex, and he heard the tree fall on the apartment, but he has not been able to get back inside. Huntsville Fire Department is here assessing all the damage, but we do have over here, we have some residents that are basically outside and waiting to figure out what's going on. But I'll have Jesse swing over a little bit that way, and that is the root of the tree in between the apartments. That's how big it is, that it actually landed on the apartment and fell to this direction. And right now, a lot of people cannot get back into their homes because of this tree that fell roughly within the past hour or so. Again, when the storm and the winds blew through here in Huntsville. But we're going to stay here and stay on top of this and let you know what happens overnight. And again, some of this damage we will not know until the sun comes up. Reporting live in Huntsville, Charlisa Gordon, WAAY 31 News.
Charlisa, have you had a chance to talk to any of those residents yet about what they experienced?
Yes, we did speak to one resident. He said it was a loud boom, is very quick and sudden, and it actually fell through the roof of his home and the roof of this walkway. So it's no telling when he'll actually be able to get back into the apartment, because again, trying to get that tree off the apartment complex is one thing, and then making sure it's actually safe to be inside. And of course the roof is damaged, so rain and water coming into the building is also another major issue. Dan, Demetria?
Nobody hurt though, right?
No, no one was hurt at this point.
That's good. And Charlisa, I can't really tell from behind there, but
But
you're
we
there.
still,
Go ahead.
yes. Oh, I was saying that we're still waiting to talk to the Huntsville Fire Department to confirm all the details and what the plan is for removing the tree from the home or the apartments.
And Charlisa, I was just going to ask really quickly about how many units do you think were affected by this tree falling onto it?
Actually, just by looking, again, we haven't confirmed with Huntsville Fire Department, but by looking, I could tell you it's about 4, possibly 6. But this is one building, and the tree fell on approximately half of it at this point. So at this time, it's no telling exactly how many apartments were impacted, but just based on taking a quick look, I could tell you at least 4, maybe 6 to 8.
Oh my goodness, definitely going to keep them in our prayers tonight. Thank you so much, Charlisa.
Charlisa Gordon reporting live there at this Hunter's Ridge apartment complex in South Huntsville. And we've seen and heard of other reports of damage across the Tennessee Valley. A lot of trees down, some of those trees landing on houses. We'll be fanning our crews out all across the Tennessee Valley overnight tonight and again tomorrow to bring you up to date on the damage reports from Mississippi all the way to Georgia.
And we want to go back over to Chris because I believe you have some more new information.
Yeah, I just want to, before you guys close this out real quick, what I do want to go back to is the severe weather threat's finally over and done with. The National Weather Service has finally expired the severe thunderstorm warning for Jackson and DeKalb County. So there are no more warnings anymore inside of the Tennessee Valley. So again, I really do appreciate everyone sticking with us and choosing WAAY 31 as some coverage that you can count on. Dan and Demetria?
Well, it has been that. Thank you, Chris, for staying with us for 3 hours, keeping us all safe and up to date with those severe storm warnings. You've been watching continuous coverage of these severe storms as they moved across the Tennessee Valley right here on WAAY 31.
And our morning crew will continue to keep you informed. Bill, Naja, and Kate will join you at 4:30 a.m.
And we'll be back again tomorrow with live updates starting at 4 in the afternoon.